Monster energy drink is enough, it's enough to get what you need, then same goes for your diamonds. Kashi Shop has got great deals, and make sure you top up with Kashi Shop because they've got some of the greatest deals, the greatest discounts, especially if you're thinking about Mobile Legends. You want to get a new hero, maybe you want to try some of the new things in the patches, you might want a new skin. Kashi Shop has got you covered.
Absolutely. And well, we talk about how dominant GameLab was in game number 1, but they are not done with flaunting their confidence. Here's another video courtesy of GameLab. Enjoy.
Hello, my name is Carlo from Team Game Lab of the Philippines, and today I'm going to react to our matches in week 1. We reached the backline by using the ultimate of Dogman and placement of Havos in the map. So even if they got the turtle, we won the team fight by using this method.
DYY is gone, GameLab getting a good trade.
All the confidence was given to Takinaga, and we know that he can win the retro battle during this crucial moment. So instead of playing the usual team that we are doing with Moscow, we intended to clash them in the Lord instead of doing the stuff that Moscow is doing. During this clip, we know their winning conditions to play it late. So at this time, we are trying to play consistently and not to throw the game and end it.
Top Takinaga still in the front line, still holding on to that out, doesn't even need it. He is just showing egoist that he doesn't even need to do too much. J-Hay taking the full brunt of GameLab.
Thank you for watching. I hope you guys like our gameplay.
I love the gameplay. In
Yeah.
fact, let me tell you a fun fact. So recently, I've been getting into RPGs. You know, you create your characters.
Yeah.
And I named my character after Takinaga.
I just thought you just took his IG and straight up, just didn't even know.
No, he has
back.
the first name, but the surname is Takinaga.
Okay, fair enough. I can respect that. And I think with overall Game Lab's gameplay, it makes sense. It's very simple. It's very straight to the point. They make good decisions. Even if it's bad, they make sure that the whole team is together on the call. And again, a lot of confidence given over to a lot of the teammates. Like, how much blind faith do you have in winning a retry battle like that? They know he could do it, and that's why they played the way they did.
And on paper, it looks incredibly simple, but when you look at the composition, it is very complicated to even execute it, and not many teams can do so as smoothly as GameLab did.
Yep, great game instincts all across the board. And it's tough. As much as we like to praise GameLab, somebody's got to knock them down. Somebody has to be able to make them bleed, and we're hoping that A8 in game number 2 is going to do that a little bit better, because I don't know whether it shows a lack of confidence having that many people rotate to the same side of the map, or whether they just want to ensure that whatever they do, they can do no wrong.
And perhaps it right, how you did brought up the resource management part from AA, and this is where I want to talk about it just a little bit more.
Sure thing.
Are we going to see that from the draft? Do you fight fire with fire? Do you play as fast as GameLab?
I think you don't need to play as fast as GameLab. I definitely think A8 had the right calls. They had the right protocols set in place. And what I mean by protocols is if you see X person show up on this side of the map, what is your response as a team? Not just one person, but we're talking about how does Grok move to kind of cover that angle? How does mid lane start pushing the wave? Or can he even take the trade against his opponent? There's so many little small attributes that need to be made that A8 does really well. However, once they lose the tempo and GameLab gets under their skin, it becomes really hard to actually recover from it because you're always scrambling to get back on time.
And it's safe to say that A8 were actually playing on the clock, right? Because in game 1, by the 6-minute mark, GameLab has seemingly taken over the entire game.
Yeah, and not to mention, if A8 was able to actually pull off that base defense, there was a good chance they could win the entire game.
Yeah, but unfortunately they weren't, right? GameLab just went straight for the crystal. It's just so much intricate things that A8 have to take into consideration. And if you look at GameLab, it's safe to say that they are just taking this as just another day in the office.
Yep, another day in the office. They probably had like a bunch of scrims that they had to play today. They're looking a little tired, but it doesn't matter if they can just end this quick against A8. So, A8, you've got your leg up on them. Give it your best shot as we jump right into the draft here. GameLab on blue side, A8 Esports on the red.
It's good to see that A8 are still in high spirit, because at the end of this series, the loser has to play against 2 by Esports in an elimination best of 3. So the pressure is definitely on A8, but the drafts, well, so far the bans have been similar.
Yeah, I don't think the bans are really going to be changing here,
Mhm.
but this time Game Lab going to be banning out the Kadita, the Wanwan, again, meta picks overall, but it's very interesting to me that Kadita gets banned out, is actually worth banning out.
I guess for Game Lab, they are, with how fast they're playing, you don't want to just get screwed over by Petrified Kadita, right? And
I mean, they kind of do the same thing, where
Nah.
essentially they set a strategy, or they just really don't like pickoffs. We did see them ban out Kaja previously when they were on the red side.
And that's, I believe throughout the entirety of the Challenge Group stage, or even the Open Finals, Kaja has been on the ban list for Game Lab.
Oh, for
We
sure.
just want to enable Takenaga, right? We want to be able to play fast and not worry about having someone kidnapped by our enemies. In this game, they decided to ban out Arla.
Ah, okay, so Game Labs, it's interesting. They ban out Kadita, and they're like, you know what? Arlot, as well as Valentina, are
Yeah.
also kind of good.
Those two heroes were picked by Game Lab in Game 1.
Yeah, no, it continues to develop my ongoing conspiracy theory.
Right.
I honestly, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. It's just like maybe a psychological thing that teams always ban out what they think is good, and they pick it up for themselves later on because they think it's great.
And I think in Game Lab's case, it is just kind of that subtle message, right? We ban out the heroes that we used in Game 1, we're gonna crush you with another composition.
Yeah, oh, Kaja got let through this time. Okay. Yeah, that's why Kadita, when blue side bans out something that is not traditionally banned out. For example, we're talking about Frederick, we're talking about Kaja. You switch one of those out for something like Kadita, these other meta picks slip through the cracks, and unfortunately for red side, you only have 3 bans. You can't do too much with it. But I like the idea that A8 is going for. They're saying, you know what? Let's lock in the Cho. Game Labs absolutely hated pickoffs, so therefore we're going to be bringing it this game.
It is a good solution also. You don't get the Kaja, but you have Way of the Dragon to do almost the same thing, and you also have someone that can really play disruption in these team fights.
I mean, there is a situation where Kaja Divine Judgment is your marksman, and then Cho accidentally kicks him back into the enemy team.
That happens too.
It happens to the best of us.
It happens to the best. This is where I believe we would see Kesu, having the same burden, well, the same responsibility as he did in Game 1 with the Grok. You just want to be able to harass that front line, not get dragged back at the same time.
I think more importantly, it gives him some playmaking capabilities,
Mhm.
right? On the Grok, like, yes, he could force a play, but he would expect a Game Lab with a much stronger counter engage. This time round, at least your options are safer. You don't necessarily have to fully commit to a pickoff unless it's clean.
And we finally see that Farsa come out. The consensus in Game 1 was that both teams didn't pick the mages, but AA Esports just decide to pick that Farsa after seeing the Fire Mist, contrary to Game 1. So a bit of that switch up for A8. But for Game Lab, they are not too worried. Still sticking with Fire Mist, still picking the Moskov, ready to play it as fast as they did.
I don't know what Scrim's Game Lab has been doing all day, but it feels like they've been playing this comp for a while here, and they're not deviating from it too much other than the Kaja, but then again, really, it doesn't make too much of a difference to the overall style. Then again, if we're talking about overall style, right? No Valentina, no Arla. Those were the 2 picks that Game Lab actually abused last time. Are there any replacements for it? I feel like in terms of mages, not really. But then again, I could be wrong about this.
The Eve?
Eve doesn't seem too bad, but they already got the Farmist. They could
Oh,
put
right,
Farmist
right,
into the
right.
support position once again. That should be something to consider, but I don't know. Then where does Kaja go? Don't tell me that they're going to try and pull off like a blacklisting where they're going to give Kaja retribution instead of flicker.
Yeah. Well, they banned the Yuzhong, which we don't see that much. A8 following up with the glue ban. I was looking at Game Lab and I was wondering, are they keeping Takenaga's hero for last? Well, they don't have the last pick, but that's what Game Lab have been prioritizing for most of the series that they play.
Yes, they have been prioritizing Takenaga at the very least. I don't know. This draft is starting to look very strange here. Game Lab banning out Yuzong, kind of odd. A8 Esports, they get rid of the Gulu, they get rid of the Martis. Okay, I can absolutely respect that. I think as of right now, A8 have the stronger draft on their side, but it's on condition, right? We still don't know who the gold laner is for A8.
This is a very important pick for A8 also. They've revealed the jungler, they've revealed that mid lane. It's now it comes down to who A8 wants to prioritize. And so far, I think Arfi has also been on that, has been the most important member of the team. They first faced the Melissa for him last game, and now they revealed the Beatrix for Arfi.
I guess Arfi just feels a little bit more comfortable with the spacing on the Beatrix in comparison to something like the Melissa. I think the one thing I did notice is that Arfi was losing his trades mainly because he would throw the puppet, and unfortunately Moskov would, you know, dash forward to get out of its range to get an even better trade, maybe off of a minion. But most of the time, he was just winning out that lane. So the fact that he's taking the Beatrix, it's safe. I would have preferred to see the Claude if they really wanted to play it safe, but I think it's alright.
I guess it's also because they saw the Moskov getting picked so early by GameLab, right? So you get to hide that XP laner for last. But this is a hero that A8 Esports banned in Game 1. Now it's coming true. We not only see the Lancelot for Takinaga, we also see the Masha.
Dude, I feel so bad for Arfi. He's just gonna get run down every single time. This is a pure dive comp coming in from GameLab, a more traditional style of dive comp. But again, with tanks a lot, it's already hard to take him out. The Masha disarms you and could pretty much one-shot you with enough Sky Guardian's helm. So I don't know. I feel like A8 Esports, this Pharsa has a lot of work on her hands. But even if the Pharsa gets ahead, there's a majority of targets who either have iframes or are just too tanky to deal with.
And it also makes the life of the job, for Kesu a bit harder, right? Who do you kick away? There are, like you mentioned, there are iframes that you can avoid at the Will of the Dragon when you time it correctly.
I think it has to be Masha here, right? It has to be Masha. Wait. They switched
Is
it
this
up.
the XP lane?
Yes, it is. It's going to be the Fondir on that show. I respect it a lot because now that you can actually stop the dash.
Let's go, guys.
Ball, A8 Esports have a really good opportunity against GameLab with their composition. It just depends who's going to...
Like-and-share nyo na to, live na to!
Is there a chance that it's a jungle choke?
Hello sa inyo. Hello.
Ooh.
Mic, check, mic.
No, it can't be. I don't think so.
1-0 na par in favor of GameLab, siyempre.
It's too good. Again, when you have such a powerful ultimate like Way of the Dragon, and as well as
Nakanak na si Gucci,
best resource, it's a big enabler to make these heroes actually worth playing.
Mga hindi pa pumaposo sa live natin dyan.
So, say out loud, I think it's just A8 playing the Mikey, right? Put the chill on Ozu first, we'll switch it last second.
I mean, it's definitely a flex pick for sure, but currently with score being 1 love to GameLab, A8 Esports look to tie it up as GameLab going to be on blue
Well, it actually is a jungle choke.
No, I can't. Alright, fair enough. Fondir, you play what you want.
Concussive blast on the Fredrin. Does this change a lot though for A8?
Honestly, not really, but then again, I would have preferred that Cho just had the flicker because again, it's all about playing capabilities.
Ano bansa yung A18? Ayan, Indonesia par. Indonesia versus PH. Upper bracket to, upper bracket.
I guess you don't want to show Masha the matchup.
May meron gusto mo daw take out?
Bunch of difference in
Jiro.
That's Cho just clears the wave, and then after that,
Sa bayan, syempre.
goes out like Benedetta.
Sisig.
Really
Ha?
look at a 1v1.
Anong gusto mo?
No one.
Goto.
If Fondia is doing the same, walk up forward, try to play the wing. It is undeterred though. So Fondia
Ha?
can't really do too much. Just recall.
Tsaka topo.
Having to use that regeneration early on. Takinaga showing now. It's gonna hit level 4 off the passive experience, and Fondia, before the flicker, Takinaga going for it anyways. First blood is gonna come true right now. Her boss draws that one. Takinaga able to run away.
Patay. GameLab tayo dyan, too, sorry.
Hard for Ozu. Takinaga not able to dodge it fully, and her boss is now gonna just power on this show. What?
Walang laban nyo, Poria, boss. Hindi ko masyado na-check yung schedule. Wait lang, saglit lang.
Still have it.
Medyo hassle, no? Medyo hassle.
I'm surprised. Maybe
Dita ko camera ko, guys, ha?
I could be wrong, but
Okay.
didn't seem like he was able to catch up before he should technically be able to. Whatever. At least they're able to get a kill back. That's the most important thing.
This time Aizawa is the one who shows up. It's gonna be a 2 versus 2. Richie is there to help. Fondia gonna knock out first to get rid of the help out from her boss. He now is down on his last leg. Big ultimate, but the co-ultimate saves it. Her boss, will he go down? Yes, he will. Taunted into the feather airstrike. Fondia also showing up. Aizawa gets away. Ozu not able to get that knockout.
Order ako bibimbap ng boncho ng konti na. Patay baka dyan. Nice flicker by Docman.
Force a flicker.
Docman is baka.
So far, this is a better start compared to game.
Nakita ko sila Docman dati, the Nationals guys eh.
Sorta.
I mean, they started off with like three kills to one previously, so I would say, you know, let's give it a little bit more time to cook. But unfortunately for Ozil here, their speed isn't going as great in comparison to Takanaga. But that's the thing, right? We're seeing that Game Lab is taking full advantage of the fact that, hey, Ozil is going to be playing much. Yes, he did take the Demon Slayer, absolutely, but more importantly, is
Tol, baka gusto mo i-cast dito sa Middle East, may MPL men na kami dito. Pinoy din naglaro, bukas laban nila. Ay, wala man tayong permission dyan, guys. Ay, shoutout sa mga 1,000 viewers. Baka naman, guys, pusuan nyo na to live. Share nyo na rin. Support natin Team PH, guys. Support natin Team PH.
This puts a lot of that responsibility for AA to fight.
Game number 2 na to. Medyo nahuli ako, sorry.
So game like they're ready for this.
see whether or not they respect Goku.
Patay, huli par. Naku po.
That's right, pinned into the wall. That's
Nahuli yung dalawa. Nahuli si Muski. Hindi na nakagalaw. Walang damage ang lads na yan, par.
Oh, he's ready to do some damage. Ozil is also there. AA Esports has the numbers.
Beautiful combo coming out from the side of AA. They made sure. Okay, guess who's going to be alive? They made sure that everything was accounted
Go PH par. 1-0 na par.
value out of Tyrant's Revenge into the Tyrant's Rage. And
Nakita nyo na ba yung predict ko?
he's not exactly the biggest playmaker in the world. He's Masha. He's
Predict ko, guys.
taking care of the kids.
Hindi naman sa bias ako, pero 4 na Pinas. Haha.
Next feeling is just cutting the waves.
Hindi naman sa bias ako, guys.
This is
I mean, this deadlock for a while.
Top 1 PH, top 2 PH, top 3 PH, top 4 PH. Di naman bias, di ba?
you know, this is I'll gladly take these.
Yeah, you'll be happy to know that they're easier to take down.
Patay yata to si Masha. Patay si Masha, parang di nagagalaw yan.
Sorry, backup coming in, but Aizawa don't really want to be there though. AA Esports should be able to pick this up. Force trying to run away, but they have decent crowd control. Not sufficient. Force actually gets out.
Yep, he did have to use the sprint here. Counter engage.
Aizawa, can you get
Kailangan ba ko may negosyo niyan pagkatapos mga anak?
Unfortunately, Force did force
Parang ko si
the
Kurt.
Alter out, so
Need ba?
they will be happy to know that Game Lab doesn't have that farmers out. This early up top. Would get this turtle for himself.
Turtle? Uy, napunta sa ano? Lamang? Ay, wala lamang pre. Dikit lang ang laban, guys. Dikit lang ang laban, guys, oh.
Enough damage before the patch.
Dude, the Apprentice Rash shooting 100% kill there.
Kahit tayo, guys, di ba ako naglo-lunch?
Kill. Oh, it's such a feels bad moment, but then again, you know, times are changing. You gotta adapt quick. But looking at Frederick down on the bottom side of the map, doesn't. Again, he's basically stuck there. He's deadlocked against this Masha no matter what. It's all about forcing priority and the timing of when they want to fight. So when you see
Saan tataya? Feel lucky kayo tumaya.
late, you know something's happening.
Ay, hindi talaga uso nagbubuts kay Moscow, eh, no?
Rises up. The discussion
Mayaman naman yung Moscow, guys, kahit namatay na eh.
Game Lab, they know what
4K yung gold niya, oh.
AA Esports away. And they should be able to get this kill on.
Patay!
And this is a big one for Taki.
Naku, patay din.
AA Esports looking for returns in that top side. Kesu tanking out as much
Okay lang yan, kadya lang yan.
possible. They will be able to get rid of Dolphin, but can they get out of this predicament? It seems like the answer is yes.
Ah,
Game
Korchu.
Lab not able to respond.
Not able to respond, and I think more importantly, I think the 8 have just realized the lane swap that had occurred. And now, unfortunately, they can't really do too much. They're stuck in this lane.
Jungle Chu, guys.
Frederick's gonna be coming back against Moscow.
Uy, go, gago.
So,
Kesu missing the knockout, but also he's going to commit nonetheless, trying to get rid of that call out to help pool, but Takinaga will show up, they drag Kesu
Nice
back.
flicker by Kupra.
Force the flicker out of the Kupra.
Si Xbox pala to, ng Alliance eh.
Have numbers up
Nasa
top.
ML na pala eh.
Also ready with the conceal. They see Arlie not able to get to him in time.
really good call coming in from AA to prevent themselves.
Uso na talaga yung tank lance, guys, no?
Lose all
Kamakailan lang, si AEP lang nakikita ko nagaganyan eh.
They lane swapped again. They just need to walk back into lane this time instead of doing the lane swap. But instead, we
Uy!
Masha here
Nagkamali si Docman.
for wave.
Kinulang.
But mid lane's being highly contested and battle spells are being thrown left, right, and center.
This is where we're starting to see Game Lab really just outpacing AA. They just keep the Masha up top. They took the tier 1. Kesu missing that dive means that no one can stop your team.
Uy, gago, masyado maasim yung Moscow, pre.
Better airstrike used from Richie. Yung TD dropping.
Masyado nakasim yung Moscow, pre.
Farsa, but the rest of Game Lab
Error yun, guys.
Kesu gets the
Uy, buti hindi
knockback.
nayakap. Uy, binurse yung tank, pre. Nice!
Kick Dolphin straight to Richie.
Patayan, Chu.
To fly away and
Binurse yung tank ang puta.
is fly to Takinaga.
I'm just gonna ignore the fact that RP can actually try.
Sayang, ang asim na Moscow dun.
But Richie, you know, his passive really
Okay lang, nakuha siya ng trade.
extends people because it's a slow projectile, but as long as he lets it build lead and the bird comes flying. At the end of the day, I think 8
Ubusin ko lang to, guys.
Right? I think they're waiting for Game Lab so very often to make that first move that unfortunately this lane swap profited Game Lab a little bit more than it did for A8 Esports. Like the 1K gold was developed off of it, and this turtle had zero priority for the side of A8 who had to actually reset from the bottom side tier 1.
Shoutout daw sa Arm and Loaded na squad sa UK.
What Game Lab did in Game 1. The
Like kayo sa The Stream, guys. Maraming salamat. Puso-puso lang. Comment din kayo. Comment.
TZ. Well, Dokman around probably. Here we go, Dokman shows up. TZ now gets
Patay ba? Patay, pre. Patay na yan. Nasibat eh.
Pin him down. Fondia still durable. Maybe not for long.
Kunat pa rin, pre.
Only doing so much. Forcing him to flicker. Backup is going to be there. Richie showing up. TZ
Naku, putang ina mo sa ilang parsa.
Don't have enough damage to take out the Moscow. At the end of the day, it's still
Wala pa kasi DHS yung Moscow.
is losing out that health.
The worst part is that he's still
1-0, 1-0. 1-0, guys. Lamang page.
playing so disrespectful. They've already lost it.
Ops, naglag.
Tier 2 on top side, the inhibitor might actually be going down. No, it's still alive. The tier 1 on the bottom is shooting them.
Kailangan nila mapatay yung parsa, guys.
I feel like the only guy that can keep this Masha in check is Fondia. But they,
Mas malakas pa yung Nguya ako,
that
sorry.
lane swap, AA Esports have been falling behind in terms of pacing. And also, I'm not really sure if you want to be there, buddy.
He should be fine. He still has the Shinpo. Shinpo still has high value here, but Fondir and as well as Arfi sick of the lane swaps going on to Havas at the same time.
This arm buying some time for Havas. Backup isn't coming anytime soon. Fondia just needs to stick onto him. The taunt is good, but does he have enough though? I don't think he has enough. Gets Havas back. They've already lost Kesu. They need to get Havas. Finally clips him underneath the turret.
Well, that's actually not that bad. Kesu ends up dying, but buys a lot of time.
Oh,
They're dead.
Yeah, recall cancel.
Oh!
Maybe they can get a return. They do. The Divine Judgment is going to be there on Arlie, and Fondia won't be able to save his fellow core this time. Maybe Ozil can arrive. Fondia just needs to buy some time. No alternate for him than Fondia. With the dancing shields, healing up with the ult, but Takinaga is just too strong.
Bruh. Ozil ditched him so fast. He ran up, and my guess is that Fondir is like, I'm dead anyway. I'm going to try outplay this. And Ozil was like, take care, brother. We'll remember you, as he rotates away from the fight. And I think if he just committed, they probably would have won that.
Aizawa was able to find Richie now, pulls him into danger territory, forcing him to use the flicker. But if Richie, he disengaged from this fight, the rest of his team might not be able to do so. They did catch your TZ. Arlie credited with the kill, but Game Lab still taking over this jungle. Arlie almost getting clipped by the Shadow Stampede.
Yeah, I mean, Game Lab just playing extremely fast now. Every moment they can actually aggress against A8, they do so. This is the mid game. This is where they actually excel at, where the lack of turrets gives A8 Esports less time to...
Hindi nga tank yung Lance, guys. Hindi nga tank.
Ozil?
He's gonna be
Hindi tank yung Lance, guys.
Kidnap, able to still get away. Fondia putting his body in front, but Takinaga actually challenging this veteran. Fondia just needs to put his body in tank as much as possible, but he's just gonna be surrendered over.
Kawawa yung Bea sa Masha, pre.
Pounces on AA.
Kawawa yung Bea sa Masha.
No, they cannot. Unfortunately for Richie. Does he have the weak spot? Oh, he almost kills Aizawa here.
But Aizawa still
Patay. Wala, panalo na PH dito. Too sorry, par. Too sorry to, guys. Too sorry.
Pendant getting purchased by Aizawa, so you get a reduction for Game Lab.
Tayo ng pawis ko.
Dice here for
Init.
AA. Kesu
Kakaligo ko lang yan,
guy left standing. The inhibitor goes down.
Oh, they get an inhibitor without the Lord as well. So now they're just getting so much value out of here. 9k gold lead in Game Lab when they're
Ganda kasi ng quality ng mic ko ngayon, ha? Bago kasi mic ko eh.
fire that they're creating under A8 Esports, it is burning ablaze. Like A8 are just suffocating right now.
Game Lab finished game 1 in 15 minutes.
They're out to the earlier stages of the game. I think that's like the biggest issue right now. Like our feed is where all
Hadak.
Flicker into a Divine Judgment.
Winners,
That's the
pre,
front line
winners.
for AA eliminated. Kesu out for half of
Wala na
minute.
talenta ka set, par.
Crashing in, Fondia drag back, Feather airstrike.
Oops!
Basically doing
Nice
zero damage.
one.
Also kicking Takinaga away, but Game Lab is
Hirap talaga, Chu. Pag walang flicker, no? Hirap sumipa ng angulo.
Second inhibitor down bot. The Lord has been eliminated, but Game Lab looking for that final push.
Hindi para matatapos yan.
To go big this time. Aizawa and her boss.
Gago, kawawa yung Bea sa Masha, pre. Kawawa yung Bea sa Masha. Hindi makaporma yung Bea, guys.
That's the last inhibitor taken away.
They have the Mirror's Passion.
Ay, naku, yan yung Copra.
Anything right now, they only have Bennett's Rage and the rest of the team as Takanaga just doesn't care.
Patay! Hindi makasend yung Cobra pero hindi makaporma.
And gifted on a silver platter to TZ. A8 stops the push, but the base is in shambles.
It is broken here, and A8 Esports are just so far behind. They can farm whatever they want here, but Game Lab with the 10k gold lead that they have, 12k even at this stage of the game, can play disrespectfully.
And Fondia dragged so far behind.
Wala na,
Ozil.
tunaw na.
So down. The Divine Judgment doing so much work. Takanaga forcing Richie
Hey!
to go for the flicker. And does lose his life, but Game Lab they're going straight for the end. 15 minutes is a bit too much.
Naku, nagasim.
A8 were able to get rid of the
Naku, nagasim.
but Fondia will be traded in return.
Sayang din natapos ni Moskov.
Game Lab has not left this base.
Trinay-erect na ni Moskov eh.
Arlie taking
Walang ulti yung Barami,
lot of
sayang.
damage, still staying alive. A8 finally stopping this assault.
Okay, they're finally done with it. They're like, okay, we trade 50-50 there. That should not have happened. We should have absolutely traded up at the very least, and we didn't even get that done. So let's just back up here for a second. 35 seconds until the Lord actually spawns, with the majority of the members of A8 actually in a good position and have actually respawned. So Game Lab take the response of actually playing for the side waves. Now look at that. A8 committing onto this Masha. Is it necessary? No. They should split up and start looking for resources, or at the very least have someone like Kesu to walk up into these bushes knowing that Game Lab actually haven't responded in time. So at this point, it's too late. The window has shut. Game Lab now slowly creeping back and taking back space. First, setting the border in the river, and then
Ba't di na ako naglalaro sa MPL? Matagal na ako retired, pre.
A8 in their base for so long, and when Game Lab respawns, the Lord also respawns. They've held A8 Esports head underwater for the past 13 minutes. You see her boss, guess who is going to be the one to check the bush? But her boss, he is not worried at all.
Don't get distracted, boys. The Lord's being taken right under their noses, but they also understand that they can't do anything about it. So the next best bet is to actually go for the high ground defense with Beatrix, and as well as at the very least with Feathered Airs.
Kung nakatalo sa brand, wala pa.
Should be enough, but
Undefeated ba ang brand sa series?
it's a tough battle, a really tough battle.
Her boss just standing there menacing, still waiting for the final moment.
Taki na sino papatay kay Masha.
Do you have
Walang papatay sa
your
Masha, pre.
ready? Because Game Lab is about to drown you underwater.
Oh, and what's an opportunity that A8 is looking for? Ooh, the new Rose Gold Meteor coming out from Arfi. As long as he has that shield on
Onyx
him,
fan ka pa
Rose
din.
Gold
Ako din. Kyrie pa din, no? Usually, yung mga team dito, MDL. Ang price pool neto, guys, 4 million ang price pool neto, $75,000 to par. Ala, nag-play ka nung Cobra, ay yung ano ka dyan. Naku, madedep ata, pre, next Lord pa to.
The Lord is actually getting burnt out. Havas still staying in the front line. Game Lab not coming just yet, and now they start.
Ay, nahuli yung Moskov! Patay!
Still staying alive.
Naku, nahuli yung Moskov!
AA stays in this game. Aizawa does respawn, but yung TZ is already out.
Yun
Two
lamang.
mana spells expanded for that. 2 flickers from Fondia, and as well as Kesu to ensure that no man is going to walk away without getting punished here. And using the magic sentry on the top side gives them all the information that they need. Unfortunately, this game is going to get dragged on a little bit longer because A8 refuses to get knocked down to the lower brackets that easily.
We finally get to see AA's management, right? Again, they have played very, very long games. Game Lab putting them to the test. Ozil not really finding the pick that he wants, and backup isn't there.
Hindi makasipa yung Chu, eh, no?
They do have some time. Takanaga straight to the back line. Can they
Uy,
get
piso!
the Lancelot? Her boss
Piso
is
yung
going
para sa
up.
pre,
Richie
piso!
already
Ay, nakahatak yung Beyapar!
got the kidnap.
Naiwan yung
Also,
Beyapar!
that is the member that
Tapos na ata to.
has to stay
Sayang yung
alive,
Parsa. Kung namatay yung
but
Parsa,
no
tapos yan.
longer in this game. 38 seconds for the Beatrix to come back, but Game Lab is not going to give AA Esports that time.
Uy, patay! Nice one! Tapos na yan, pre. End the ball, Bird. Yay!
Yeah, the death timer.
And the ball, Bird. Yay!
Actually clear these waves. It's going to be Richie. He needs to clear it as soon as possible.
Doltman is drawing attention from AA away. Keep your eyes on the prize. Her boss will be shooting.
16 seconds. Ay, patay na!
Still not
Patay
in
na
this
ang
yet,
Chu.
but Ozil felt like he needed to buy space. But Arlie will come back in 5, but I'm not sure if 5 seconds is enough though. Better airstrike used. Doltman just walks on forward. Richie dives on using the winter trunk.
Wala na, GG na. Too sorry! Nice one, Game Lab!
The first series. It just
Too sorry!
Yep, honestly, they
Yay!
have an awkward moment
Oh, share nyo to,
there.
share nyo to. Panalo PH,
Blunder
panalo
with their
PH.
Final push, but They just recollected themselves, tried it again.
Excuse
This
me.
time, unfortunately,
Yay!
is one who makes the mistake, disrespecting the divine judgment. So brutal overall, but look at the build that Takanaga decided to go for. He did not want to play tanks a lot. He wanted to play a pure damage snowball-oriented carry.
Just throwing back to what the coach said, right? Carlo, the team gives confidence to Takanaga. They have full faith in this guy. No one
Yay!
has been able to stop this assassin player yet.
No one just yet. I mean, even his teammates are just handing them off, handing it and their hats over to Takanaga. Giving him those likes, absolutely deserves it so far. But yeah, even
Endable na endable sila, Perd.
Even what we're seeing in the game, right? The combinations have been looking kind of clean, but I would say that RP just again getting punished again and again and again and again. Game Lab just prying A8 open just to get their valuable resources, and more importantly, making sure that the tempo was set very early on. And because of that early game snowball, it made it really difficult for A8 to actually walk out of their base. They lose so much value protected mid lane that their side lanes no tier 1s or tier 2s.
And we saw how in that final moment AA wanted to at least get a mid-tier 2, but Game Lab just knew which buttons to press. They separate AA's battle lines and somehow got the divine judgment onto Arfi of all people.
Yeah, I don't know. RP, it's really difficult to be a Beatrix in this particular game, especially since everybody else can't really stop the Basha from running at you. Basha, especially with the disarm, for someone who is limited in...
Peach yan, Matic. Peach yan.
Reload mechanic is kind of annoying, but to be...
May laban yung Porya.
It's
Tignan
so
natin schedule.
for Game
Wait lang, check yung schedule, guys, ha. Check natin schedule.
Well, the day has ended for Game Lab. They can,
Schedule for today.
They can rest assured that they are now guaranteed at least a top 6 finish. Job is not done for AA though. They still have a lower bracket.
May lower bracket pa naman para sa Indo team.
Against Malaysia's Dubai Esports, which will be happening later on. They will be able to get a bit of break. But this is a brutal beatdown from Game Lab.
Ito.
Let's start with...
So, andito tayo. Game, wala. Walang laban ng Euphoria ngayon, guys. Kasi tapos na yung Euphoria ng isang araw. So, andito tayo. So, ang may laban yan, yung Sway Esports. Okay. Pero yan, PH team din yan, PH team.
Oh,
So, esports, PH team.
I don't know if any team can take on Game Lab just yet, other than maybe Euphoria. But even
Excuse
then,
me.
Game Lab is gunning for their other Filipino counterparts right now. It's just looking so dominant.
Teka mo,
Hisu
Barago.
lost so much of his impact, and I think Game Lab adapted very, very well to the protocols. But that's the thing. A8 Esports were just very straightforward.
Barag, pre,
with what
barag.
they wanted to do, that they didn't know how to adapt when Game Lab kept on changing the tempo, the lane swaps, the way that they actually managed the mid lane, the way they managed their resources. A8 just did not have the same level of confidence.
Sa tingin niya, para sino magka-champion dito?
Small margins, those openings that AAs can take, it felt so tight that they couldn't really take advantage.
Sa tingin niya, pre, sino
That's why
magka-champion
Game Lab is
dito?
very suffocating, right?
Yeah.
When you think it's like, oh, usually this window lasts for at least 10 seconds. Game Lab speeds it up, turns it into 5, turns it into 4, turns it into 2 before it already is too late.
You enter the bush 1 second late and the window is closed.
Yeah, and that's like the worst part of it all, right? Game Lab are so fast with
Yun naman eh, hindi naman.
with the communication.
Yung nung isang araw, ang tindi nung Indo team, pre, yung team PH, siniro.
Then A8.
Honestly,
Na zero, guys, na zero.
Because I also feel that I'm suffocated and I'm not even playing the game.
And you just feel the presence.
I feel out of breath, yes.
Right? It's the presence, the aura that comes out of Game Lab, and especially with their very expressive play style, they like to get messy. They like to separate and split up these fights. They like to isolate and actually try and ego
Game Lab champion para sa inyo.
1v1 just because they can, which is extremely demoralizing.
And they use and they draft compositions that usually you don't expect to do that, right? They just go up in your face for composition that you don't normally see, and they just put your head underwater.
They do. And it's really difficult to get your head back up, and by the time you do it, all you see is your crystal blowing up in your face.
Yeah, tough series for AA. I think for a lot of fans, especially Game Lab supporters, this is the expected result. It's a matter of how fast this best of 3 ends so that they can go have their dinner. But if you're AA, you will be very, very happy to know that they are not out of the tournament just yet. But because of Game Lab, they are forced to walk the plank. This is the last chance, which will happen later on.
Honestly, I'm gonna admit it right now. A8 got done dirty. It is so dirty by the
Balik
patch.
tayo, guys.
And
Paglaban na.
ISL continues to dominate with his 71.9% kill participation and a 10.8 KD. He is just farming stats.
Yeah, this guy went from Valentina to Farmis. Huge switch up, but one thing that's consistent is that he is so impactful. This guy plays Farmis like Farmis an assassin.
Yeah, no, he knows how to press an advantage.
He certainly does. And at Game Lab, so ahead of everyone else, it really felt like they could do no wrong. Whatever Game Lab
AE
does,
to
it's
AI
the
daw.
correct
Grabe
play.
kayo. Parang
Sure,
pumalag naman
Sure,
gagi.
boss where your ego challenge a little too hard. Dai wants to be like, okay, that's my death. That's my bad, guys. My bad.
Doesn't need a clean KD. You know,
He doesn't need a clean KD.
it is the scariest players are those who just keep running in your face, even after you kill them.
Zero hesitation.
Zero hesitation.
Zero hesitation as well. You know what? I'm gonna go back to my point. I think AA got really done dirty by the patch. Like Fredrin should have killed Yuktizi a good number of times there. Like there's a good number of times where he should have gotten one shot if it was the old Fredrin with his ultimate. He had so much gray health. There's no way he would come back from that. But
Hit by a wet noodle.
hit by a really wet noodle now.
Really?
He is so much more of a tank than he is a bruiser.
I guess that's how Fredrin is intended to be in the game. You know, they finally found his identity. You know, for Fredrin overall, just a very tough series for A8. But the day has just begun.
Yep.
Well, I can't believe I'm saying this. The day has just begun. We have Sway Esports coming up next against Alva 8. And if anyone from these teams are watching the previous series, they know that they will have to face Game Lab if they win. And I don't even know if you want to win this series.
Look, winning just means that you get a higher placement, which means you get a bigger piece of the pie. So they have incentive. The question is, how much drive do they have to beat their opponents and continue on looking at the face of a mountain?
Yeah, they already know who they will be up against, but now Game Lab isn't at the front thought, right? They have to consider who their opponent is, and I think it's safe to say that Sway Esports is probably the favorite coming into this best of 3. Again, the onus is on the Indonesian representatives to show that they can draw blood from Philippines. But that will happen in just a bit. We'll hit for a short break, and we will come back for the next best of 3 of this evening.
We'll see you guys there.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
La 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 la. Bin immer happy auf Fotos, doch im Blitzlicht der Strobo. Frag ich mich schon, wo du jetzt bist und vermiss dich so. 1000 Augen auf mir und ich schein immer zu lächeln und glücklich zu sein. Doch ohne dich fühle ich mich zwischen tausenden Leuten allein. Nur mit dir kann ich sein, wie ich bin. Nur mit dir. Wir tanzen so, als ob keiner zusieht. Ganz egal wo, zusammen sind wir mutig. Und wir beide drehen so auf, als ob es nur uns zwei gibt. Und singen so laut diese Melodie. Lalala, lalala, lalala. Flieg mit mir auf dem Beat. Lalala, lalala, lalala. Als ob uns keiner sieht. Du bist mein Dodo, ohne dich bin ich solo. Zwischen Tokio und Soho denk ich an dich und die Sehnsucht ist so groß. Denn mit dir kann ich Luftschlösser bauen. Wir zwei sind immer ein bisschen zu laut. Ganz ohne Ziel, ganz ohne Plan. Mit dir durchzudrehen hab ich so sehr gebraucht. Nur mit dir kann ich sein, wie ich bin. Nur mit dir. Wir tanzen so, als ob keiner zusieht. Ganz egal wo, zusammen sind wir mutig. Und wir beide drehen so auf, als ob es nur uns zwei gibt. Und singen so laut diese Melodie. Lalala, lalala, lalala. Flieg mit dir auf dem Beat. Lalala, lalala, lalala. Immer wieder repeat. Lalala, lalala, lalala. Flieg mit mir auf dem Beat. Lalala, lalala, lalala. Als ob uns keiner sieht. Mit dir kann ich sein, wie ich bin. Nur mit dir la la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. Wir tanzen so, als ob keiner zusieht, ganz egal wo. Zusammen sind wir mutig und wir beide drehen so auf, als ob es nur uns zwei gibt und singen so laut diese Melodie. Lalala, lalala, flieg mit dir auf den Beat. Lalala, 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 immer wieder repeat. Lalala, 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 flieg mit mir auf den Beat. Lalala, 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 als ob uns keiner sieht.
Rhythm and I'm on the beat. When they all look, everything on fleek. Word in the street, got my sound on repeat. Do it all day, every day of the week. Getting turned up, we feeling lively. On the dance floor, where you gonna find me? Here comes the drop, it's time to party. Here comes the drop, it's time to party. Bad up the beat, when they all look. Everything on fleek. Do it all day, every day. Bad up the beat, when they all look. Everything on fleek. Do it all day, every day. Every day of the week, getting time out, we feeling lively. On the dance floor, where you gonna find me? Here comes the drop, it's time to party. Here comes the drop, it's time to party.
Hope you guys have been able to catch your breath because we are back for the Snapdragon Pro Series Mobile Legends Bang Bang Challenge Group Stage, and we are ready for the next best of 3 in this upper bracket. It's going to be AES against Sway Esports. My name is Husky, and alongside me is my very, very reliable Sherlock Holmes of Mobile Legends, Mr. Gideon.
Look, these games have been a little messy all across the board. A lot of disrespect from some of the better teams here in the league in this tournament. But, oh boy, this upcoming one is going to be a little bit more interesting, hopefully a lot more even, and we'll see some good games.
And indeed, I think this series would be a bit more tighter. I hope it would be.
I hope so too.
I hope so too.
We never know. We never know with these tier 2 teams.
Yeah, so so far Philippines have drawn that 1-0 for their region, at least in that first series. But coming up, I believe, with how these two teams have gotten to this stage, I'm expecting a tighter one, especially with how Sway Esports and Alpha 8 has been, well, not Alpha 8, Sway Esports and, yeah, Alpha 8, actually the same thing, have been demonstrating throughout the entire league, with, I believe, Sway just doing a bit better compared to Alpha 8. And it's safe to say that these two teams have almost the same personalities to one another, with Sway Esports just playing faster game overall and Alpha 8 having scrappier ones.
Yeah, you know, overall, the scrappier versions of these games, I mean, Sway Esports is one of those fan-favorite teams with the break-even, the most consistent performing player in the team, who's also an opportunist looking for moments to, like, start a fight whenever he sees the opportunity.
Yeah, and this team also has put on an incredible performance in Week 1 against Cambodia's See You Soon, and that was Cambodia's favorite, and they still got crushed. So we're looking for Sway Esports to put up the same performance against Alpha 8.
But it's not going to be easy because Alpha 8 is one of the underdogs in Indonesia coming into this tournament with, you know, strong laners. Their early game performances is something we should expect, honestly, to look forward to later on.
And no, you can't really overlook Alpha 8 also because they did beat CU Soon, and CU Soon was a team that was able to overcome the drift from the same region. So overall, both teams have the same record. Of course, Alpha 8, they did have scrappier games overall, so that's something that I think Sway Esports will be looking to take advantage of.
Look, not to forget, the Drift has won against CU Soon's trial overall in the lower brackets during week 2, but I think we need to keep in mind that overall that these teams aren't going to be backing down, and even though we expect Alpha 8's laners to be good in the earlier stages, their team fights is something that they're generally lacking in overall. It could be one of those things where it's like, oh, they're fatigued for that day, or maybe it's just something that they've been working on progressively.
And that's something that Sway Esports has, on the other hand, demonstrated a cleaner version of, right? It's something that I feel like they have an advantage over Alpha 8. And speaking about the personalities, Sway Esports generally just plays a faster game compared to Alpha 8. And I believe it's a regional thing where Philippines just generally have faster game time.
I think they know, well, it's true. Sway Esports, with Horosky, Gyome, Barbichi, Merps, and even Break Even, they just, they know what they're doing. They know how to, in particular, push an advantage. Like, really press the advantage to its uttermost limits, and they know when to call it off. So I think it's more of a game sense thing than anything else.
And Sway Esports, when you look back at the games that they played, they have had very incredible series, but they also had a lot of moments where they clutched it out, right? Gyome on the Martyrs jungle is something that we need to really watch out for. And Barbichi also has his moment. Lord Steels is something that has made himself known for in this entire tournament.
Yeah, I do want to see more from them, and especially with the new patch, I don't know how prepared they actually are for either one of these teams. Like it's a scary time to actually have a patch, especially with so much on the line.
And with so less time to prepare as well, right?
Yeah.
Less than 12 hours.
I mean, unless they've been playing on like test servers like for the entire day of yesterday as well as today, and even then things could change in the final outlook of the patch. So again, all we can say is good luck to both of these teams.
Yeah, and it's good that we are having this patch in a way that we get to come in with a clean slate and see how fast these teams are adapting to one another. It's safe to say that for Sway Esports, just like most of the Philippine teams that we've seen today or seen across the tournament, it is just a very confident team that knows how to, like you mentioned, push the advantage. And like we mentioned early on, we are looking at break even.
Yep, with break even, with a kill participation of 95.8%, this team wants the team fight as much as they can, and that's something that the Alpha 8 boys have to kind of figure out here. They are the ones who are weaker in these team fights, and if we're talking about the Filipino style of actually playing, it's going to be hard macro until they find the green light, and when they have that green light, all hell breaks loose.
And that's something that I think would also be a good point of discussion with how the region of Indonesia usually likes to be more meticulous, focusing a lot on that macro. But in this case, Sway Esports have got that down. So it comes down to the small decisions. It's Sway Esports, they do have the advantage.
That's true, but there's also the denial of that green light, taking away enablers, taking away the tools, and it really boils down to whether or not the draft is going to be, in a particular style that actually works for them, especially when we're introducing Alpha 8.
This is a team that also has a lot of highlight moments that can be made into a great montage. We have Jirachi, Zion, Eliora, Aaron Shiki, and Vince Smoke. If we say that Barbichi has had Lord Steel highlights, Eliora also has a couple. So in Alpha 8, they faced up against Sway Esports before, and they put out a pretty impressive fight against Sway Esports overall. So this is a very important rematch for both teams. Eliora, especially in this moment, was able to take down Sway Esports off of one Lord Steel. We're looking to see if Alpha 8 can do it again. Yeah,
and I've been very excited to see and actually watch some of these Alpha 8 games, because again, I've been keeping an eye on specifically Vince Spoke, who previously had played under a banner in Malaysia in the MPL. Unfortunately, didn't get a lot of game time, and now that he's coming back, he's making sure that the Tier 2 scene understands that even if he's gone for a little bit, he still has the same amount of impact. So again, I'm expecting the Natalias, those heavy engagers overall for the side of Alpha 8.
And Alpha 8 is a team that was sent down to a lower bracket very early. Well, not lower bracket, but was, I believe, one of the first team and the only team that's gotten a Savage so far.
Yes.
On their carry. So I I'm confident that LA will put up a good fight.
Yeah, I'm sure that they will, and especially since they've got a lot of mechanically talented players on their side for this for Alpha 8. You see a lot of these 1v1 interactions becoming and snowballing, honestly, out of control, and because of that, like you can even see in the team highlights, that bottom side, the 1v1 with Lapu Lapu and as well as Moskov, just well played, making all the difference at the end.
I think a lot of focus will Barbie and Eliora and how much impact they can bring in that mid lane. And if we put that aside, perhaps the goal laner would be the second in line, because Alpha 8, when they are dominant, they are incredibly dominant. But we also have seen a lot of samples where they play scrappy games. And indeed, for this time, for this series, we're looking back at the mid laners.
Yeah, honestly, I hope it does become a scrappy game where both sides try to ego challenge each other, especially with Barbie and as well as Eliora. Both sides, I would hope that, you know, we do see very similar drafts, similar to our very first series of the day. And I just want to see non-meta mid laners, right? Again, I hope they start off with the Kadita ban. I hope that we don't have to see Farsa or Farmis. I do hope that Valentina is going to be a very big option for Eliora, something that we haven't seen Barbie abuse too much just yet, sticking with the traditional meta stuff. But things are changing slowly. Items are changing as well. Fleeting time's a thing as well. So
Yeah.
let's see who can adapt faster.
And both these mid laners have very similar hero pools in the mid lane, right? I think Eliora has picked more Eve than Valentina in general, so maybe we would see that trade come out in the middle lane. But overall, it's a bit sad to know that mid lane hasn't changed much. We still see kind of the same picks in and out. Maybe Xavier is the one that, you know, it's the pocket picks, but aside from that, it's been similar.
I mean, it doesn't really change his innate problem of like he is such a slow scaler compared to the rest of these monsters in the mid lane. And I don't know. I think overall Eliora is looking good in terms of the stats. He has a higher KDA, a higher KP, DPM as well, but that could be, you know, accustomed to the fact that Sway Esports has been closing out their games, just having cleaner interactions overall.
Yeah, this is a very important rematch. Last time these two teams met, it was A8, it was Alpha 8 that won the series 2-1.
Yep.
But the stakes are higher in this series. Whoever wins proceeds through the upper bracket, faces against Game Lab, and the loser drops to the lower bracket. We do have an interview with Sway Esports, so let's take a look at what they have to say.
Hello guys, we're Sway Esports from Philippines. I'm Yomi. I'm Barbie.
And I'm break even.
Ekis kayo sa amin. I think our strategy for the challenge season was we're studying our enemies before our game starts. As a player, I admire Blacklist International because of Omay Venus, and he or she is my inspiration why I'm here.
Yes, I will show more hero and more nasty move.
Breakeven wants to be nasty in the series.
That's it. That's all he said. It's just like, I'm just going to show more heroes. I'm just going to be nastier. I'm just going to own, man. That's all he's in for.
Yeah. This is how he scares people without revealing much.
Yeah, just keywords. Kills, money, not going to feed. That's it. That's all he needs to stick to make his point.
And I think it's a very good way to approach this series, considering how there's a bit of a grudge match between these two teams, right? If anything, Sway Esports, they're back for vengeance. And seeing how Game Lab has performed, you would feel a bit of that pressure. You don't want to be that team that goes down.
That's true, but it doesn't mean that it's the end of the world.
Oh,
Luckily, it's a double round robin, but I think you want to position yourself to get the biggest piece of pie as you possibly can at the end of the day. And I think, you know, the biggest issue that I noticed between Alpha 8 and as well as Sway Esports in their matchup, a lot of it had to come, a lot of it boiled down to whether or not a team had the right indicators, whether or not they had enough information. So again, that's why I'm keeping a very big eye, or, you know, a magnifying glass even on Vin Smoke in particular, because he is going to be the perpetrator of whether or not the green light actually comes through for Alpha 8.
Yeah. And as much as we say that these two teams have a lot of difference, I think there's one key point that they have in terms of similarity, which is there are a lot of coin flip moments in the series that they had. And I want to also know what you guys think in the Twitch chat, because I want you guys to drop your prediction. So far, it has been a Filipino favorite overall. We see team fights happening on screens, but I'm pretty sure that there are also team fights happening inter-region in the chat. So
yes,
keep that up, guys. Keep that up.
Keep that up. Keep on going with
Keep
the
on
hashtag
going.
Indopry or the hashtag Lang Malakas. Whichever, keep it up. You guys are doing great. Doing good over there.
Doing good over there. I also want to see our predictions. You know, we put a lot of faith in the Filipino region in general, and I don't want to say that I don't predict. I'm not in favor of Alpha 8, but
I mean, Alpha 8 has
moments.
good games. They had some good moments, and it really comes down to like those 50-50, right? And I think, Sway has definitely learned from those experiences, and they need to take this into heart. They really do. Because coming up with a game plan, especially against A8, is going to be a lot easier compared to some of the other opponents out there, because with A8, with Alpha 8, they're actually able to kind of foresee things that are going to happen. Especially, we'll talk about it more about the draft, but for now, I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, these two teams have, from the previous best of 3 that we've seen them play, not only that we see a lot of coin flip moments, but also they are quite similar in terms of how they play, and just like how it has been a constant for us to have Monster Energy on board for the entirety of Snapdragon Pro Series, unleashing the beast within everyone behind the scenes. And I'm pretty sure that if you take a swig right now, you're going to win your next 10 ranked games. Check them out at www.monsterenergy.com/gaming.
Yep, that's the Monster Energy promise.
That is. We're gonna go for a short break and take a swig of that Monster Energy ourselves, and when we come back, we will be locked and loaded for the upcoming best of 3 between Sway Esports and Alpha 8.
3 minutes pa. Kala ko Gina par.
The rest of the members of Euphoria just positioned perfectly just around the area. Oh no, just carry on. We're gonna get the first initial kick, but now you see the rest of them actually go on in. Julian tries to get on out there with the enhanced swords, but the Benedetta's electro final blow is just too much damage. Period is already dead. Guru is next to die. Headgun continuing to just run them down. When does he stop? Finally does.
First 8 teams. They're getting going on. Oh, okay, I mean, JH just steals it. Moving on blast on the back line. They're gonna pounce to Peasy, doing a lot of damage with those piercing arrows. Takenaga is unstoppable. Get rid of the Fedrin. DYY is gone. Game Lab getting a good trade. Okay, able to go isolated. The Lord is pushing into the base. See you, members of See You Soon. They're running out of health. Able to get the immortality, and now Barbie G comes in with the ultimate, shuts down the Melissa. Kyrie is isolated. The Lord is pushing into the base. See You Soon. Your base is in imminent danger. Can Ashley create out? He's just the same.
No,
he cannot do it. The Lord has done it. Sway Esports. Expanding the flicker from this Lolita. Now there's a chance for A8 to re-engage. Nasu protected by the count Ulta, but they lost him. Kesu is still in the fight and getting the kick on the 4th secret, who is untouched so far. Kesu the first to go, but is there enough damage though from Arrow 404? The Fredrin also goes down. 4th secret finally threatened, but this guy is incredibly still alive. Once in a moment! You cannot keep doing this, my man. 4th secret.
Stop it! Stop him! Somebody stop him!
Floor still very healthy, and now Break Even engages again. Sway Esports going for the jugular. All the spells thrown at the Crystal and the pat at KD. They get rid of Mirth, but the Crystal is still in danger. The Lord not dead yet. Can See You Soon. Hold on. Stay 2. Barbie G, they need a bit of finishing touch, but no, See You Soon. Are you kidding me? They just would not go down.
Oh. And because of this, See You Soon will be able to bring it to a game 3.
Chocolate flavor too.
Both, because they are both poop.
Poop flavor chocolate. At least it's still a chocolate.
I'm gonna choose the chocolate flavor proof, the second one. The second one, yeah, the second one.
I think that chocolate flavored Coke. I don't think I can eat that texture of a Coke.
Chocolate flavored poop.
Yeah, for the gamer, we can no shower for a month, but we cannot no internet for a month.
No shower for a month.
I think I already doing the no shower for a month lah, so like I think no internet would be good. I better no shower for a month, better than no internet for a month. I go to no shower for a month. Break my legs so I can still play ML. Break my legs.
I will break my legs so I can still play Mobile Legends. That's the true spirit of a pro Mobile Legends player.
What a way to start off the series between Sway Esports and Alpha 8. Let's keep on playing that Mobile Legends in this upper bracket round 8, match number 3.
Very, very exciting series coming up. Two teams having a long history back in the Open Finals, and here they are fighting for that upper bracket slot, a slot to secure more prize pool, but also having a smoother run throughout the entirety of the Challenge Group stage. The main goal is to reach top 4, is to reach that Challenge Finals, but you can't reach there, you can't make it into next week if you drop out this week.
Or if you have broken arms.
Or if you have broken arms. Absolutely. Like if you lose your arm, that's it.
That's the end of the game. That's the end of the road,
end of your
unfortunately.
career.
Yeah, I mean, so many things that it could be ending, but let's talk about the top picks so far. And based on what the meta used to be, these stats may not necessarily be applicable for the future games, which is ridiculous, right? Because Frederick, with a 62% overall, only has a 40% win rate, which is going to drop even further. So if you're investing in that Frederick stock, sell it while you still can.
Yeah, the market is crashing. And prior to this stat, when the challenge stage first started, Fredrin has the highest pick rate, but only a 50% win rate.
Right? And
it is going downhill really fast.
It's going down so badly for Fredrin. The boy, he was supposed to save us all, but now he initiated a tank meta and he's not even good at tanking anymore.
I thought that, you know, nerfing his damage is just, you know, he deals lesser damage, but you also indirectly take away his tankiness.
Unfortunate indeed. Unfortunate
As a Fredrin player who reached Mythic just by playing Fredrin, I guess.
In the EXP lane,
In the EXP lane. I'll see you guys back in Legend.
See you guys back in. Don't worry, you'll find something else to invest in. How about Kaja? Because Kaja hasn't really gotten too many changes, and also Fleeting Time has been looking really, really good these days. But for this upcoming match, I don't know whether or not these teams are actually very comfortable or actually took it into account that the patch was happening in today. So we'll see. Maybe we could see some theory crafting in game number 1, and then when things get a little bit dicey, maybe in game 3 as well.
Yeah, perhaps we would still see some Fredrin getting picked throughout the rest of the day. And maybe that would fall off when the challenge final rolls around. But for now, I think Fredrin will still be a constant. Kaja has always been there. I'm just surprised that we're not seeing much Glue getting picked.
Well, I think Glue's in a bit of an awkward spot where his laning phase isn't as strong as it used to be, and considering especially if we're considering our lot as well as just the weirder picks we've seen overall in the tournament in the EXP lane, I think it's fair. I think it's understandable that, like, oh, if I want to have a winning lane, Glue's a pretty easy way to go.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't really get killed in lane. Does the same amount of damage, has sustain, is tanky. Sounds like Fredrin before the nerf.
Well, at least he didn't have like a big executability based on the amount of health he has. That would have been the game-breaking mechanic.
that definitely would have been. And you know, we're gonna have the draft for game 1 up right now. This is where we get to see where, you know, how much preparation both teams have done. Again, it's a game of adaptation with how recent the patch drop was. So Esports starting off with the Valentina ban and just prioritizing that mid lane. I do like this approach. Both mid laners have very similar hero pools.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a really big point of contention. But then again, there's a lot of meta heroes that are still extremely relevant. Joy, Kaja, Wanwan, Valentina, all included. Ooh. Bit of a
Drafting na,
deviation
guys!
for Sway. Getting rid of Brody so early on.
And it's not a hero that Arashiki plays much in the group stage, in the open finals as well. So this is definitely a deviation.
This could be an indication that they don't want certain things to be abused. For example, the Blade of Heptases in this particular case now having a extra effect. You guys check that out.
Sway versus
It's Sea Halberd.
Alba Gaming.
Yeah, with the early item Sea Halberd, really cost efficient, gives you that early bit of damage, and more importantly, gives you a secondary ability, a unique passive that I wouldn't have expected to actually happen. But well, we'll see if it actually occurs in the game with maybe a different marksman. Arlot, follow-up ban from Alpha 8.
So far, just common bans, maybe except for the Brody. We still have Kaja, Kadita, Joy, Blue, couple more choices on the board. Only 2 bans left. We might see some of that slip through.
Yeah, I do hope that the Joy actually gets let through by Alpha 8. I don't think Sway Esports is going to touch it right now. Most likely. Okay, I was expecting
there's a high chance it goes through.
Yeah, but you never know with these teams because so far Joy has not been touched throughout the tournament, and you know I'm not even sure whether they're aware of the changes. I'm pretty sure they are aware of the changes, but don't know how much of an impact it actually provides. So this is a good testing ground. I feel like if Alpha 8 wants to give it up, sure, because you still have options like Franco as well as Kaja to actually counter the Joy later on into the game or whenever they get into a team fight.
One of the reasons we didn't get to see the Joy was also because she was perma-banned. And Alpha 8, they're thinking really hard about this. Do we take out the Joy, Kadita, Kaja? A lot of these.
Like and share the stream, guys. Bago pa mag-start to.
Esports. In this case, it feels like the Kaja is probably the juiciest one. If you want to first pick for Sway, Alpha 8 banning out the fire missile.
Yeah.
All the cards are now on the board, on the table.
That's a good ban. That's a good ban. Taking away the Farmist means that Sway Esports has to really commit to these team fights. They don't have a get out of jail card for free. And there we go. First pick Joy. This was what they were setting up for. Alpha 8 looking to get Kaja. At the very least, you need some form of suppression.
Yeah, Kaja is probably the easiest one to do so.
Yeah.
And I believe that Joy now has one less dash.
Yes.
So it's a bit easier to catch her. And Alpha 8 instantly locks in the Kaja. It's a decent trade that both teams are going for. And I think if you're on Sway's side, you can also go for Kaja first, depending on how you want to approach the game.
That's the thing. No matter what, I feel like whoever gets Kaja in this position is going to be the stronger one. Like Sway, they wanted to get the Joy. Let's see how much it actually is able to provide now that it has a little bit of magic resist as well as armor after you use the ult. And I'm curious to see how much the shield and as well as the damage changes to the hero itself makes a difference. Like, will someone die in 2 dashes? I don't know, man. I have no clue. They just changed it today.
I guess overall, Joy still gets to do what Joy does best. You have the vengeance, and it's generally hard to kill her already, and now you get the extra resistance. But can still expect kind of the same disruption from Joy. But we also have Ling and Carry, and now Sway building up a draft that has the ability to just instantly dive the backline.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot because now when you see Kaja, it's like, okay, if you only send one person to the backline, they're going to get Divine Judgment straight away. Now that you have your kill threat in Ling, if there's enough damage done by the Joy, Link can just clean up the mess and he doesn't have to worry about the Divine Judgment. I like it. Fredrin gets locked in, and then after that we see the carry for the side of Sway Esports. So again, a lot of respect, both sides really taking into account the different weapons and different attributes of the heroes.
And I also want to say that Alpha 8 picking up the Claw, it is a point you brought up in the earlier series when you have so much dive. Instead of the Melissa, the Claw is also not too bad of an option, right? You have that get out of jail card.
Battle Mirror Image, still a good ability, very reliable, but okay, Lolita ban for the side of Alpha 8. They want to make sure that Sway Esports don't have any form of setup here. I still think Sway needs a way to kind of hard dive and kind of get access, but how would they do that? I mean, High Loss probably is by far the worst. Even though the Glorious Pathway is great, Hayabusa gets banned out, so Sway Esports are genuinely worried about their backline. It might give an indication that their supports aren't going to be as tanky.
Is Grog an option for Sway Esports in this scenario? Still have that roamer that they haven't picked up.
Okay, I think it's more valuable for Alpha 8 in particular, but there's always the issue of carry, right?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it boils down to whether or not you can actually deal with that carry. And once carry gets 3 items, she's going to be very, very relevant in the game. Not to mention with changes to certain items, it could get even better. But Alpha 8, they managed to axe it out. Rock is gone, and now their backline is generally quite safe.
Yeah, and that was a hero I was looking for Sway overall. But in this case, if you're Alpha 8, there are still certain ways that you can keep carry out of team fights, and I'm looking at Farsa right now for Alpha 8 with the Feather Airstrike.
That's good thought processing because Grok is a really easy way to stop the Feathered Airstrike with the Nature's Barrier. So I think it feels very straightforward from here on out. The Akai gets banned for the side of Sway Esports. Again, I am
pang-epic yung pick. Grabe ka naman.
Now we really narrow down the hero.
Okay naman yung pickings
We
ah.
haven't seen Elviora's pick, we haven't seen Barbichi's pick, the Farsight is...
Pero Joylin carry binigay.
And maybe Barbichi is...
Sa Joy pa lang, sa bagay, meron naman Fidrin tsaka Kaja eh.
Seeing in the open finals between these two mid laners.
Is there anything else? Anything else that could pose up potential threat? Kadita is still going to be quite relevant. And I think Kadita actually works well with the composition because overall it's about diving via the team, right? And then I'm guessing only the support is going to be the one babysitting the carry at the end of the day. What support is going to be? Tough call. Okay, we're seeing the Yi coming up from Sway Esports. They want a little bit of both. They want to be able to peel. They want to be able to kind of set up a domain so that the rest of the members of Sway Esports can actually access the backline within a specific space.
Sway Esports looking for the Vomer to break even. It's gonna be the Franco. I
Okay.
think it's a counter suppress, I suppose.
I guess it's an enabler, right? Because you want to be able to kind of pull off.
Anong bansa kalaban?
in this
Alva
particular
8.
case, whether
Anong
it's
bansa ba
Frederick
tong
or
Alva
even
8,
Kanja,
guys?
You want to have somebody tank the hook. You see Feathered Airstrike? I'm just gonna throw in that direction of the Feathered Airstrike if somebody decides.
Di ko
to
wala
block
sure
it,
guys
then
anong
he's
bansa
out of the way,
to.
But Alpha 8 with a great response here, locking in that Benedetta is gonna tell us that Alpha 8, if they team fight, they're gonna be able to make first move.
And how is this Benedetta going to play into the Joy matchup-wise?
Like every other matchup that Benedetta does, she clears the wave and then buggers off. Like, unless we see Hiroski really blunder in the lane, like miss a dash and he's left out underneath Benedetta's turret, then obviously there's going to be a big surplus in terms of like damage coming in from Jirachi, and he should be able to win the trade overall. But for the most part, Benedetta's just clear the lane, proxy, bail out, wait for the team fight.
Now we talked about mech check, and we're seeing it right now between two XP laners.
Yep.
Don't get to see much Joy, so this is one of the rare moments that Joy is picked for the series. That itself, I think, would make this very, very interesting. We get to witness the change, and we get to witness how much impact Joy can bring.
All right, let's see whether or not it's going to be worthwhile as we start getting into this game. The upper bracket round 8 match number 3 between Sway Esports versus Alva 8 in this best of 3. Only one of these teams are going to survive, and the other team will get knocked down to the lower bracket.
This is a grudge match, best of 3 that both teams have been through before. Now here they are with higher stakes, on the table. But Alva 8 again, we looked at individual matchups, the head-to-head between both mid laners. We discussed a bit on the hero pool and how they always go for these exchange, the far side, the Eve, and the Valentina. Now we get to see the far side into the Eve.
Yep. It's not going to be an easy matchup here. I am a little worried about Alpha 8, mainly because this Frederick doesn't deal as much damage as before, so I don't think he's going to be that much of a kill threat to someone like Yome on this Ling, who can get in and out of fights pretty easily. And usually the big problem with Ling is that, yeah, I start to fall behind, especially when I'm up against the tank jungler.
Indo pa din, guys. Lahat ng kalaban niya yung Indo. Crowd versus Kari. Kada, may panghuli. May Franco din naman. Parehas lang sila may panglakiro.
Jirachi, dove by Gyome. He's gonna go for it. Tempest of Blaze, dodged by Jirachi. Can't get the first blood.
Yeah, he does not want to be... I guess it's just... He doesn't want to risk it, right? I mean, if he was really confident, he would absolutely go for the kill and actually try and dodge away from the Frederick looking to taunt him under the turret, but Frosty is rough.
Should be fine underneath that turret.
Idol tahimik ka ata. Medyo.
It's gonna force Barbie.
Meron ako nirereklamo saglit
Both mid laners just showing up in that XP lane. But being able to force Joy back gives Jirachi a bit more room to work with.
I mean, I suppose, but I am curious. If Hiroski just tanked the ult, would he live? I feel like he does, but I'm also not 100% sure.
Maybe not with that health. But if he presses Vengeance, maybe yes.
If he presses Vengeance, he for sure lives, but I don't know. With the changes, it looked like it definitely was possible there. But with Turtle falling into the hands of Alva 8, they maintain the tempo for now. Let's see how Sway responds with a potential dive on top side.
Kiba is just gonna walk in, flicker, ulti, this should be first blood. Gyome actually getting out with the battle image and now into the ult. Here's the one that's gonna help Vinsmoke get, help Eliora get the first blood. Gyome wants that one, and Rashiki pulls up a magic trick, not able to get away in time, and Eliora has a better airstrike. Barbichi responding with his own ultimate, but not able to get a knockout, and Barbichi now might get knocked. Break even getting a hook onto Jirachi, but that's not the target, can't get the kill.
Does not want to actually get into the middle of that one for now. Sway Esports. Okay, very interesting interaction. And Aaron almost outplaying the entire situation, but luckily Sway was still able to get one back. However, on the bottom side, we were just seeing Gyome just putting a lot of pressure across the map, and especially...
Nakala kasi aso ko, guys.
Medyo
bantay-bantay ko, no?
Target for them to take out, but you can see the prioritization to give Hiroski a lot more of that room. I do wonder if we would see this Joy go for the proxy, because Jirachi is already doing it. Hiroski is going to use that ultimate. Jirachi, can you get out of this predicament? No. Gyome is waiting for the opportune moment, and Jirachi just gets out.
they have no information. That's why he's not actually committed. They don't know where the rest of the members of Alpha 8, but they're coming in for the dive on top side.
Now they definitely know it's going to be a 4-man dive up top. Alpha 8 getting 2 quick kills. That's going to be pressure on the
Villaverde,
tier 1
shout out sa
Winspoke.
inyo.
Make sure to keep RBG in check. Meanwhile, Gyome having his jungle infiltrator, trying to get that purple buff at least, but doesn't even get that.
Yeah, unfortunate for him, and I think now the snowball begins for Alpha 8. Again, they're using their main priority and being able to force it very effectively.
Damn wasted. Pre, bakit, Boss Ron?
It feels like Alpha 8 are always one step ahead of Sway. They're able to dictate when the play is going to happen in comparison to Sway, where it feels like they're being a little bit more responsive.
And, you know, compared to the last series that these two teams faced,
Nanganak si Doggy, oh, nanganak yung corgi ko.
so much cleaner.
Di mo
So
kasama
much
si Poit,
more
nanonood ako
control
eh.
early stage, get the second turtle off the game for themselves as well. Definitely are prepared, but Jirachi is going to get ganked once more. Haroski and Gyome. This is attempt number 3 onto Jirachi. Still can't find it, but Gyome surely
buti na lang.
will get the kill.
Buti na lang, walang second skill Benedetta kundi patay
And get
siya.
out with his life. Eliora not able to trace.
Okay, I'm surprised that Haroski didn't decide to fully commit there, but then again, he is running out of dashes overall. We're seeing that Winspoke. I'm pretty certain, yeah, he knows.
They're gonna lose Eliora. Who surprisingly was standing in that rush. Winspoke now has to defend this turret. Real world manipulation is out. Zion just casually walks in. Winspoke getting the drag onto Gyome, but he does have the Tempest of Blade. Getting the kill on the Kaja. They did end up losing the carry though. Break even also not healthy. Both teams trading 1-for-1, but Haroski will be able to get that bot tier 1.
Yes, the bot tier 1 is going to open up so many avenues for Swing Esports. Again, Swing Esports just really good at punishing an opponent, especially when they find an advantage. But Alpha 8 right now. Nick.
Arashiki so aware. Zion wants the purple buff, but actually ends up resetting the buff. Haroski, he's just going to go for that ultimate. And gets the buff again.
He can't do anything about it. Again, Zion, unfortunately, he's a level up, 2 levels up off Gyome. No matter what Gyome does, his retribution is always going to be smaller than Zan's at this stage of the game. Even though he's got 3 kills under his belt, the gold is great, but EXP would be more ideal.
Lamang pa into.
So much.
Medyo hindi kasi nakaka-farm yung link par. Hindi nakaka-farm yung link par, medyo hirap din Franco kaysa sa Kaja.
Alpha 8 take this to tier 1.
Wait, are they just going to leave Frederick? Yeah, wow. He just went into the grocer and was just picking out what he wanted. Like, he was not punished for that. A majority of the Alpha 8 members were on the top side. Sway Esports said, you know what? This just isn't worth it.
Winspoke rooted down, forced the flicker away. Well, at least for Gyome, he now gets access to Alpha 8 jungle. Right? He gets that purple buff somewhere. And should be able to get out of this. They see him leap away, but they have a way to stop him. The third turtle of the game, Alpha 8 on the objective.
Yeah, 4K ahead for now. But again, I don't think Sway Esports is even going to bother to try and contest this. The most they can do is look for...
Shoutout habang gumagawa ng shoutout kay Boss Abel. Naku, patay. Patay. Hirap din yung Franco eh. Hirap din si Frankie. Kahit naka-joy sila, hirap sila par.
He just walked up hoping he could bait something out, but unfortunately giving his life on over there probably wasn't as well.
Kahit naka-joy sila, hirap sila par.
Really hard to actually maintain this space against Alpha 8. And if Alpha decides to actually go for the full dive, they can absolutely do so.
Yeah, Gyome just trying to secure as much XP for himself as possible. Jirachi is, like you pointed out earlier on, doing a fantastic job. Right? All these lane pressures that this Benedetta is providing. He's drawing so much attention. Break even is going to come back with that ultimate, suppressing this Benedetta to finally get him out of the way. But that means that the mid lane is going to be under assault. Alpha 8 attempting to take this turret. Barbichi forced to cancel his own ult.
Nicely done by Barbichi, recognizing that yes, that the Divine Judgment will pull you out of the real world manipulation. It is not worth dying there, just let the tier 2 go. But Alpha 8 consistently, systematically just cutting away at the objectives, making sure that the towers are falling into their hand. Now with a clean 5k gold lead, this is what I was expecting from Alpha 8.
This cascading effect really started with Alpha 8 being able to put Gyome on the back foot. This major setback. Can't win objective, can't win those retribution fights. And
John Paul, shout out to you.
Early game impact that Sway Esports wanted. And it seems like Sway Esports now are in damage control. They're waiting for Merps to scale up. They're waiting for Gyome to scale back up.
Do they have enough time here? I mean, we don't even see the DHS coming out or even the Golden Staff coming out of Merps.
Kaka, pupunta ako sa bahay mo. Ang gagawin mo dito?
Particular situation, right? Alpha 8, they've got a lot of tanky members in Zion as well
Sakit
as
na ng mata
Vinceman
ko,
will eventually be building into that full tank.
Ang hirap
right?
pala nagpapanak
As
ng
again,
aso eh, no?
Ukrainian armor, we are seeing, wow, Aaron deciding to...
Meron dito single ba? Shoutout sa boss Del Silver sa 69 star boss. Thank you. Ayan na, magkaka-blue buff na tayo, Ling. Tangina mo, level 13 yung Pedrin. Di ba ka-forma si Ling? Uy, blazing dulo, gago!
What a madman, forcing the tempo.
Patay! O, tangina mo, may natirang piso sa Claude. May natirang piso sa Claude, pre. Ay, namatay yung Claude, gago! Tangina na nag-tower dive.
Okay.
Nag-tower dive yung Claude, par, gigil.
Not that bad.
Anong tour na yan? Hindi. Ano to, guys? Ano kasing tournament to? A Snapdragon Professional series. Ano to? 4 million ang prize pool dito. $75,000. Ayan. 4 ang Team PH. Buhay pa ang 4 ang Team PH.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts against people who are like, I don't know, 3 levels below. Yep, 3 levels below. Yeah.
Dikit lang, guys. Dikit lang.
This is not going to be an easy game to come back, especially for Sway, because in terms of timing, a 4
Talo Sway, di ba na? Ay, gago. Wait lang, miyakin
is
to.
great, but notice that the majority of the members from Sway Esports are only completing their second items, while people like Aroshiki, if he just wants to be part of these fights, is more than enough to get the advantage in full 5v5s.
And just the level discrepancy between these two teams. Vinsmoke has the same level as Haroski.
That's so brutal. It's so brutal. Like the other members, unless you are Ling, Gilmay is the only one having fun here.
Sort of, right?
Sort of, right?
Sort of.
It's conditional to all.
Well, he's not gonna have fun for much longer. Not with this Flicker Divine Judgment. Playtime is done. 30 seconds without the Ling.
Oh, what a terrible time. The poor man knew it was going to happen and he just didn't want to react to it. He should have just tried to clear that wave, but now
Haroski uses an ulti.
Pwede makitahay sa bahay nyo. Pwede naman pa eh. Pero wag lang malaki tayo mo. Putang ina, baka mamaya malaki tayo mo.
This mid inhibitor turret, Aroshiki is working on it. Almost taking it down. Backrow production is there for Sway. That turret has taken major damage and Bismarck will finish the job.
Yep, these inhibitors are falling down super quickly.
Sana sa 100,000 viewers, baka naman. Baka naman, like and share little live. O, 36 lang nag-share. 36 lang yung nag-share, 1,000 nanonood. Ba't ganun?
If they can get a tank
bakit yung kabanding?
From Sway Esports and ensure that they don't touch the wave. Oh, whoa.
Oh, get the spread the bloody hunt onto Benedetta. Jirachi falls. Zion just flicker in. Aroshiki once more. Right into the enemy base.
Oh, he gets
the kill onto Burbs. Can they get Aroshiki back? Yoroi finds him. Get the hook onto Vinsmoke. 2 for 2 trades so far, but Alpha 8, they still have some damage to keep working on.
Oh my god.
Talo na ba?
Oh, you hate to see it. They should be trading 2 for 2, especially since they're ahead. But if they get one more inhibitor, it's worthwhile. But look at that!
Haroski wants to run interference. Unfortunately, he gets sniped by Eliora. Do not mess with this man. Alpha 8 getting the better end of that trade.
I gotta give it to Haroski. He tried. He really tried there. And he was so close to escaping it at the same time.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for this meddling bird.
This guy he's a madman.
He really is. He really is. I think he understands that nobody really poses a threat, especially since, you know, if the Bloody Hunt has already been used, if the Iron Hook is already gone, Gilway is going to have to alter something or something, and even then he can still just take his Battle Mirror image back. Like, there's not a lot of conditions, or in this case, not a lot of CC that Sway actually has to stop Aroshiki from going in with the Blazing Duet.
And now he has the Malefic roll as well. Ooh, get ready to have your health bar absolutely shredded. By the way, 93% in favor of Sway Esports.
I think it's understandable.
It is understandable.
Yeah, especially with the you know, the PH Dynasty, but Alpha 8 might prove us wrong here. I mean, Claude. Oh, wait, is that? Yeah, he is pretty much full build at this point.
One more item.
Yeah, one more item, but he's got everything he absolutely needs. Fredrin is coming at 3 items at the same time. Looking at interesting movements coming out from Sway Esports. They're covering the top side. They know they're on Lord, but they're hoping that Alpha 8 actually has some stragglers.
Unfortunately, they will not find any from Alpha 8. This is a team that so much cleaner from the last time we saw these two teams face up against each other.
Absolutely, I would say that Sway. Sway probably not exactly playing the best they could be compared to the last time we've seen them. It could be just warming up to it all, but Alpha 8, you gotta give it to them. They've improved significantly from the last time I saw them.
Oh, definitely. In the driver's seat from the very first minute of the game. Vinsmoke just got the immortality, so Sway Esports now will have another layer of cash that they need to go through.
Mahirap talaga
Try
katapat
getting
ang
into as much as
Fred.
possible, but Alpha 8 are setting up all the waves to crash.
Hirap ang mga assassin sa
They
Fred.
can defend at least one
Lalo na
wave.
pag di naka-early, no?
Minimize the damage that Alpha 8
Hirap ang mga assassin sa Fred
push
talaga.
against them without losing their crystal. They can come back into this game.
Alpha 8
Pati Kari, hirap.
just took care of the
Hatak tong
bottom
Kari,
inhibitor,
pre.
and now Vinsmoke
Sabi niya.
flicker in, get the grab. That
Patay
is
na
the
naman ang
kidnap
Kari.
onto
May
Merv.
flicker yung Kari, hindi ba
Vinsmoke
niya
will be
tinignan?
dived on.
Nakatabi na lang
Hiroski
niya.
also doing his best alongside Gyome. They actually were able to take out Ereshiki. Sway Esports mounting
In-hook,
a
nice.
commendable defense. The iron hook on Zion. Perfectly done by
Nice!
Break Even. And
Nakabagdep pa, par!
Kung
Kung ano hindi pa nag-flicker yung Kari, di ba niya nakita katabi na niya yung Kaga?
See the aggression
Nice
coming out
one.
of Alpha 8, and Sway Esports responds perfectly to it. Two very good iron hooks coming in from Break Even to turn that fight around, and two important kills to trade up against a opponent who already has a 5k gold lead.
And this is the first time we really get to see how Sway Esports intended to play this composition, where you have both Hiroski and Gyome dive the backline, getting rid of the Claude, so at least you get to avenge the carry. And in the meantime, if Alpha 8 is the one diving, then Sway Esports can just let it happen.
Yeah, and, I mean, the way that they played this, unfortunately, was, especially for Alpha 8, the Feather Airstrike was
No,
so
Pearl, shout out
deep
sa'yo.
in that it gets cancelled as soon as Hiroski threatens
Oo nga, hindi nga ano yung Kari, no?
They
Katabi
know
na
they
niya eh.
can't kill him necessarily.
Di pa siya nag-flicker out? Di ba niya nakita?
Iron Hook. The rest of the team members actually
Dapat
look
kita
for
niya
an
yun. Lahat ng
opportunity
player
to
kita yun.
zone away, knowing that Vinsmoke is basically out of these fights without the Divine Judgment.
Well, Hiroski, as long as he steps on the on Eliora, that's
Hindi sana siya yung mahatak.
just have overwhelming
Pero okay lang,
damage
okay
from
lang
this-
naman.
from this Joy.
Okay lang kahit nahatak siya. No-dep
Once
naman
the
nila
flicker
eh.
from Merps, that is some resources expended from Sway. And less than 30 seconds until the next Lord.
Oh, Merps does get that win. Oh, okay.
Finally.
He has the win chance. He will survive the next Blazing Duet unless somebody forces it out of him. And the only person who can really do that is Jirachi. And I don't know. So far, Jirachi, he hasn't been finding these big.
Uh-oh. Bloody Han, Jirachi, that is the man! Dragged back by Break Even, who is so good on the hooks.
Patay ang
But there
kulod.
it is!
Patay ang
Ereshiki
Kari
with the
pala.
Blazing Duet onto Merps.
Di ba kapalag din
Merv
yung
goes
Kari,
down
pre?
despite having the win chant, a double kill going all the way of Vinsmoke.
Patay yung
Sway
dalawang
Esports
core,
set
pre.
on the run.
Makakaya pa ba to?
Can't just go for the Lord.
Kaya pa ba nila to?
Up for the end, honestly.
I think the end is
Kaya pa
one that
ba
they
nila
don't
to?
exactly have the best heroes for this high ground effects except for Barbie Chi. So if they kill Barbie Chi, it's over.
Alpha 8 just gonna go straight for the crystal. Sway Esports.
GG na ata, pre. Tinapos nung kulod, par.
Alpha 8.
Nice
first
game.
blood in this best of 3.
Nice game, tinapos ng kulod. Game 1 pa lang.
Did not expect from this team.
May chance pa bumawi.
A really good opening. They've improved a lot. They
Game 1 pa lang
continue to
naman
show.
yun, guys.
They've beaten Sway Esports one time. It ain't going to happen.
Bawi,
It's
bawi.
not going to change the past.
Predict ko pa man din,
This
apat na
series
PH.
is gonna change because the future is
Huwag yun ang
now.
patalo, par.
Alpha 8 0-1 against Sway Esports. One more to close out this series.
Compared to last time these two teams faced off, Alpha 8 just had so much cleaner in how they won game number 1. Not much scrappy moments. We did see Sway Esports hit back, Break Even really accurate on those crucial iron hooks, but Alpha 8 was just too
Team ni Kyrie,
far ahead
Onyx.
that they can do
Wala si
something
Kyrie
like
dito.
this.
May Kyrie dito.
It
Kyrie
really
din pangalan,
came
pero hindi
down
si
to
Kyrie
just
na
the
Kyrie
jungle
natin.
pressure, right? Alpha 8
Okay,
were
no,
able to
naglakad yung Ling, di
in the
nagdash.
earlier stages of the game to minimize how much he could actually provide for his entire team, while Alpha 8, once they had crippled the jungle, they continued to just set the tempo, attack the side lanes, decide on dives, and more importantly, neutral objectives were basically always in the hands of Alpha 8, while Sway Esports had to climb up a cliff just to get close.
This is definitely not a fun game for Gyome's Ling. Always under level, just not able to secure objectives. You see that cascading effect really set up by Alpha 8, and I think a lot of props has to be given over to how Jirachi has been able to open up that space on the map.
Yeah, not just Jirachi. I mean, like, even Vince Smoke, who's supposed to be known as a support player, picking up that Benedetta because he's
Ayan na,
mechanical.
gusto ko na matulog. Nangihina na ako.
Didn't even really have to find too many solid engages, but made sure that he quickly
Sound trip
followed
habang
up
break
people
time.
like
Baka mamaya
Saya,
maka-copyright
and
ako,
making
par.
sure that his sides are safe, or at the least his battle
Baka
player
mamaya
image
maka-copyright ako, par.
is an okay place to go back to.
I just want to let our audience watching that this is definitely not the hero arrangement for the player.
What are you talking about? I totally saw Vince Smoke walk into that bush and instantly get bloody hunted by break even.
Pretty sure Jirachi was a jungle, 100%. But I mean, case in point, it's just the early pressure from Alba 8, and you also made the point. Whoever has the
Nahirapan yung leg
had that innate advantage.
Joy Day, wala ba siya
We saw
nagawa?
how much
Sa best
Vince
na naman ay
did
Parcel.
with that divine judgment. So much aggression.
That's the thing, especially with a composition that's designed around
Babawi yan,
two
guys,
carries,
babawi.
right? Especially if we're talking three tanks, two carries. If you look at Sway Esports, right, the way they actually want to play their composition is hard diving their opponents. They have so many ways to access the backline, but the front line in terms of peel is honestly only held by two people, Break Even and Barbichi. And if Barbichi isn't at the right place at the right time, especially if you're not preemptively using your ult, you just lose so much value because the counter engage is going to be so much harder for the side of Alpha 8, especially when you're on someone like Vince Smoke. That flicker into Divine Judgment makes it difficult for Barbichi to actually set up properly.
And you look at Barbichi, he is 3-0. Didn't die the entire game. So it's just the team couldn't really keep up, and I don't think it's the team's fault either, right? It's just how fast Alpha 8 has been able to pressure them from early until late game, even with some of those speed bumps that AES ran into. So esports were just too far behind to recover.
Yeah.
Merps had a rough time this game.
Merps had such a rough time. That's three times. Three times he got Blazing Duet by Blazing
just
Duet.
100 to 0.
Yeah, just 100 to 0. What is the poor guy gonna do? All he can do is literally like, I'm just gonna have to try and fight you. Oh, guess what? Wind chant. Oh, great. I can't even fight back.
Yeah, he got his wind chant, and he still died through the wind chant.
He died through the wind chant because he was caught out of position at the same time. Like, you got to give props where props is due. Alpha 8 were controlling. They understand how they want to play their particular team composition. And unfortunately, the draft was very unlikely that Sway was going to come out of this on top.
So far, the 7% has been rewarded with the first game. But if there's anything that we've seen from these two teams, that they went the full distance last time. I swear they will have some time to recompose and think about game 2. This dive comp certainly didn't work. We saw how Joy was very confidently handled by AES.
Very confidently handled, and I don't know, it's really tough. I think, Kadra needs to be a consideration for upcoming bans in the future if you want to make a dive comp of this sort, but you gotta give it to our match MVP, Vince Smoke, coming in from Alpha 8 with an 86.7% kill participation.
What was his kill participation before? I think break-even was like 95% when we saw him. Vince Smoke not as high, but considering how game 1 went, he didn't need to do too much. Everyone on the team was self-sufficient. You have Sion on the Fredrin, and who was also doing mad work. Jirachi was creating a lot of chaos on the side lanes. Overall, Alpha 8 just had a very, very smooth game.
Yep, really smooth game. Good drafting overall. And I think, this could be a repeat of history here. If game 2 goes very similar to game number 1, I think, Alpha, this could be their moment. They could beat a Filipino team, go up, and take on the big boss.
Oh yeah, Game Lab. I would say that Game Lab at this juncture is probably more, I would say more prioritized than maybe Euphoria, Image, RLK.
Well, I guess I think there could be an argument that could be there. There definitely could be an argument because we're talking about some of the best teams here, right? All of them, they all have one thing in common, and that's because they have the Snapdragon Elite Gaming because they want to elevate their own, especially when winning matters.
Absolutely, and because of Snapdragon chip in their phones, they're able to give us one of the best Mobile Legends display in terms of gameplay and mechanics. But it's not just the microchip; they also have the best device to go with it. One of our partners, Samsung Galaxy, for being with us on this journey. We have the latest S23 Ultra. That is something that gave these players just top-notch performance.
Yep, share the epic and level up your own game play because you don't want to miss those beats. You don't want to have your screen tearing. You want to make sure you have the best of the best, the top of the line, so that you guys could unleash the beast with Monster Energy. In case you guys are wondering, grab yourself a Monster Energy drink if you're falling asleep, or if you just need a bit of energy, a bit of charisma to get over that finish line.
Yeah, we have Monster Energy to juice up your body, but we also have Kaji Shop to juice up that diamond vault that you have in your Mobile Legends account. So check out kajishop.com for the best top-ups in terms of getting your diamonds.
Check out for some of the greatest deals. You can go straight up to Kaji Shop. But for our upcoming matchup, Alva 8 currently in a really good position. Match point against Sway. And I don't know, Sway, they need to bounce back from this. They need to start thinking which side of the draft do they want to be on. Because in most situations, teams go, hey, we've lost it on this side. Let's hop over to the red side. Maybe we can change it up.
And it's also partly because of how accurate Alva 8 has been reading Soy Esports draft, right? We saw the opening 3 picks from Soy Esports and Alva 8. They got just the perfect ban to not only enable Elura in that mid lane, but also really stopping Soy from pushing the tempo early on.
Yeah, I mean, mid lane priority is just so very important in the meta right now because the side lanes are basically kind of dead in the water. They just kind of sit there for a long period of time, and the only people who really affect the lane are the supports, mid laners, as well as the junglers, right? These are the 3 factors that you always have to consider. They can divide and conquer. They can set mid lane and support into one side while the jungler ends up on the other side. It's all about pushing and pulling until you find that opening to get a little bit of an advantage, whether it be gold, EXP, maybe a kill.
So far, Alva 8 has been really showing up huge with the homework that they've done on Soy Esports. But like you said, Soy Esports will take that side switch going onto Rit, and that means that Alva 8 will have to kind of go for that first pick. But seeing how they have really prioritized the Kaja, it does make me wonder, will Joy still be let through?
I don't think Joy is going to be... well, okay, it depends. It really, really depends whether Kaja is still available. But again, as mentioned before, teams who like to play a particular type of hero or think it's strong usually ban them out on the opposite side.
So Esports just taking on that Joy, but I don't think Alva 8 cares too much, right? They have been banning Farmers in that game #1. They've let a lot of crucial picks through, but in this case, with how the latest patch has been, I think Fredrin will also go through the bans. Maybe Alva 8 will trade Kaja for the Fredrin.
Or they still ban out the Brody. You know, that was like the one pick that I thought was kind of odd overall.
I think it was Sway, right?
Yeah, it was very, very odd and oddly specific. Okay, so the expected farmers came out. Now let's see Sway. Do they get rid of it? And I don't think Brody is first pick for his ban for sure, but I'm very curious to see.
Kahit dagdagan mo lang ng konti yung kanin.
It's not a hero that Alva 8 generally picks anyway.
Jipar!
That's the thing. And so I don't know. It could be lack of
Game number 2.
It could be just going based on the
Game number 2, guys.
All right, Valentina gets taken away. They don't mind giving over Fredrin unless they ban Fredrin too.
And Alva 8, I think they banned the Martyrs in the previous game.
Yes, they did.
It's a hero that has been very popular. I think Yomei also has had a lot of success in the Martyrs, but they actually banned the Kaja.
Okay, all right. As expected here, Sway Esports probably could have held off on that Joy ban a little bit longer because they are going to be the last people who ban in this phase before we get into the picks. So, Brody, are they still going to commit their blue side strategy to red side?
I don't think so. Maybe the Kadita? Or the Martyrs, right? Martyrs is still left open.
That's true. Arlong
also.
Fair enough. But a lot of meta picks still. Well, I say meta, but then again, it's the patch. You'll guys get used. You'll get used to it.
We'll get used to it.
Yeah, we'll get used to it. So, Fredrin first pick, yay or nay?
So far, it's a yay.
So far, it has been a yay.
Has been a yay. Come
on, Alva. They got 27 more seconds. They're probably discussing the rest of their draft strategy here. So let's assume that Alva 8 decides to go for Fredrin. They go for Fredrin, Sway Esports. They're probably going to go what? Oh no! They switch it up with Glue. Finally!
Champion dyan, pasok M5 hindi par. Ay, hindi ko alam ano mangyayari sa champion dito.
Get the XP laner for Jirachi.
Hindi ko alam guys ano mangyayari sa champion dito.
Players in this tournament also, where we've seen him rotate around, playing tank XP laners into bruisers, fighters, like Benedetta. So Esports will be able to comfortably grab the Farsa and the Fredrin.
Oh, alright. So we see, okay, expected outcome for the side of Sway Esports. They wanted to get their mage, they got it. The question is Alpha 8. Now, this is where a lot of teams struggle, right? Blue side struggles after the opener they see from Sway Esports. Usually it's either like a support pick, and do they supplement it with EXP? Because usually it comes down
Putang
to how
ina,
you stop
drafting
the
pa lang,
artillery
endable
mage.
na
And
bird.
in this case, Alpha 8 are saying, you know what? We are going to be focused very much around the gold lane. We're going to blind pick the gold lane. We know for a fact that Claude is able to get on top of someone like Farsa, and with fully stacked
Wag.
maxed item Blazing Duet, there's nothing much
Tapos
Farsa
hatiin mo
can
yung
do.
carrots.
And this Lolita pick was also great because in the previous game, Alva 8 specifically banned out Lolita alongside the Grok.
Alam team page
And with
dito
the
yung Sway
picked up,
Esports pare.
You know, there's a way to have the bulwark
Sway
with
Esports,
someone like this, like the
talo nga
Prince
sila eh.
carry, which in the previous game has
One sorry na,
really
guys.
suffered a lot.
Yeah, he suffered a lot, but at least this time they have a more consistent jungler in that Frederick, and I think, you know, carries
One sorry na,
good
guys.
against the glue, might struggle a little bit against the Lolita, especially with the shield, because then he might not be able to get the right targets. But let's see, Hayabusa gets banned out for the side of Sway Esports. They want to make sure that they can't access their backline, but they haven't really considered all the options. I mean, Ling, if they want to ban out Ling, I suppose that's okay, but we don't have to worry about things like Grok or Yuzong, for an example, because Alpha 8 have already locked in those positions.
It's a Ling, I believe. I don't think Hanzo would be picked. Maybe the Lancelot and the Fanny, right? Fanny made it through the first ban
yeah,
phase.
that's a good point. We don't get to see Fanny at all. Okay, let's see if Alpha 8 decide to ban out the Kufra. If they do, then it's most likely.
Sarah
going to
naman
be
dyan
Fanny
first.
and Jungle.
Sarah
Already
kay
banned out the
kay
Grok.
Dij. D o
On the first
Dij?
few signs.
Okay.
Paano
Looking
pangalan
for-
par?
looking
Para
for the
bigyan sa
jungle
pangalan
and
mo
the
par.
mid lane of Alpha 8.
Come on. Come on, think about it. Think about it. They want to play. They want to play Fanny, don't you? Come on. Come on, everybody wants to play Fanny here.
It's very rare that we see Fanny make it through the entire ban phase.
That's the thing. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's like a risky move to do it here. Oh, Atlas gets banned out. All right, we'll see. We'll see what Sway Esports locks in. If they lock in a support, there's a good chance. There's a good chance.
There it is. Kufra, right? Kufra was the one is the one that we're looking at.
Yeah, Kufra is the big indicator here. I doubt Sway Esports would just pick Kufra just for the sake of it, just
Yeah.
to deter their opponents. I don't think it's bad, but I do think that there are better picks out there as of right now.
Probably want to look for the XP lane first.
Yes, usually. But then again, I would say locking in your support is probably your safest bet as Sway, because you want to get a good matchup for your EXP regardless. So there we go.
Oh, yeah.
We do see the mage. We do see the support come out for the side of Sway Esports. I do very much like the Kadita here, because at least with Petrify, you have a way to actually stop not the real world manipulation, but the Blazing Duet.
And I think it's also a very good steal because for Alva 8 they can still go for, they had an option to opt for Kadita mid. But
Yes.
now it feels like, you know, among all the mid lane pools, Xavier is probably the next one on the list and Kadita has a way to stop it.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just a really rough matchup if Xavier gets locked in, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's anything else on the table for them.
No, there it is. We're going down the list.
Yeah, just going down the list, man. I was thinking Lilia, but then again, it's like Kadita absolutely dumpsters her anyways. And there we go, the Fanny coming out from the side of Sway Esports.
XP lane Frederick.
Yeah, and then people are just flexing. It's like, what is he gonna do? Kill you? Like, nah, we don't have kill threat. So now let's get Fanny, and now we have kill threat.
And actually, there's no kill on the Frederick. You're right.
Yep. Big changes, man. Big changes. I can't wait to see how this is gonna play out. Oh boy, this is an interesting draft from both of these sides. Very consistent draft for Alva 8, but I think Sway Esports, they've got quite the advantage here. So I'm curious to see how this Marcus is going to perform against the Assassin Fanny.
Since the Sway Esports are doubling down on that backline dive, right now they have a Fanny, they have Kadita to facilitate that, and there's a safer way to do so as well from the side of Sway. If there's one thing that they are trying to really show is that they're going to run it back, same composition against Alpha 8.
Yep, this time with a little bit better options. They're doubling down, on, as you mentioned, on that backline dive. But at least with Frederick in the EXP, building that full tank, he's going to have that level lead. And more importantly, he's going to be the tank that someone like Merps is required with the taunt to pull attention to himself.
Just in the previous game, Gilmay and Merps had an awful time in this game, in that game. But I believe in game 2, when you have that Fanny, things does get a bit more easier. How did the pressure the Fanny with what Alpha 8 has as well?
Yeah. Oh, are they going for... Wait, hold on. I'm very curious. I'm very curious whether they both took... both took support blessings here.
Ah,
Really
hello,
far
hello.
out.
He's gonna get caught out, and that's gonna be first blood.
Bigay mo sa kanya para makita mo
Dream
yung baby niya.
start for the Fanny.
Sino nakapani?
Bit unfortunate.
Ah!
By the way, did you know
Nakapani
that,
yung PH, tas naka-fighter emblem, par!
KDAs?
Nakapani yung PH, guys, tas naka-fighter emblem.
Just for Lolita, overall, if it's overall, then that 5-1 record in game 1 didn't do much for him.
Look, he gets a lot. He doesn't get a lot of kills. Let's be honest here. He's a support player. He's looking for these assists. As long as the crystal breaks, he's done his job.
Yeah, KD's just a number.
Yep, KDA is just a number. Break even, we can confirm that he decides to get the magic penetration boots in this particular situation. Also, ooh, stolen away. Zayan being disrespectful.
Gomi doesn't even have his off cooldown. He did use it on the orange buff, most likely.
Unfortunate indeed. And yeah, it is most likely that he did. And I think right now, where do you actually play for, right? None of the waves are actually open. He's still farming. Ferocity is looking for opportunities across the map. It doesn't really matter. Oh, wait a second.
I guess unlike previous game, the XP lane will be a bit more static. You don't have someone like a Joy or a Benedetta to cut these waves. So esports, they do call first dips on the turtle. Ava is slowly arriving to the scene. Barbichi will be in a position to use that better airstrike overall, but Zion is taking a lot of damage. Back up, waiting for it. Bispo just commit.
Bang! Tangina mo, nulta ni
And Alpha A will
Gojo.
find a double for Zion.
Ooh, what a setup coming in from Alpha A. They're waiting for that green light, and once Sway Esports gave it to them, Alpha A instantly coming out with that Numenor Blast. A huge play coming out from Vinsmoke and a fast follow-up from Eliora from a super safe distance as well. He had so much value from that ult. They steal away the purple buff as well. This is starting to look like a repeat of game number 1.
And Zion is 2 levels ahead of Gyome, and this Fanny even had the retribution, just not fast enough with his fingers. The catch-up game has already begun.
It's so brutal. This is why it's annoying to deal with these types of junglers who can actually abuse the demons. The demon slayer. Okay, Merps is tickled a little bit. I guess they were checking the bush for the claw just in case, but Barbichi is actually walking through the lane itself.
Looking at how much impact the XP lane would have for both teams. It's that we don't really see too much of XP. Fredrin overall, and I would say for Glue, you know, Jirachi did had to use that flicker early on.
I mean, I'm hoping that it punishes him. At some point in time, right? Like, look at him. Jirachi is just walking up, no care in the world. He knows that he can get away with a split, especially when he's up against Swarovski in this matchup. Wait.
They're just pressuring Barbichi. Uh-oh.
Oh, tangina, ultier para pa rin, no? Patay yan. Patay sa mani yan. Gago, sakit ng Martis Spree. Budong nalagbog, sakit ng Martis Spree.
3 kills all on this Martis.
Counter ang kadita kasi sa Martis pare. Naku, na-cancel yung ibon. Oh, yun na yung Pani. Naku, may invade naman ng blue buff, guys. Level cap na naman yung Pani, pre. Lamang na naman yung jungler ng kalaban. Mukhang olats na naman, par. Naku po! Hindi kasi kaya retry yan. Level cap yung Pani.
I'm telling you, Zion's his
Mukhang olats na naman tayo, par.
Levels up, and he has Demon Slayer, which gives him an extra 20% against these neutral creeps. Like, it's so oppressive. It's a boring style to play, but it's an effective style at the very least.
If it works, it works. Ooh, I mean, look at the level difference, right? Zion is constantly 2 levels ahead of Gyome. It's the same thing in game 1.
I don't know. The plays that have been made by Sway Esports, it's really bugging me because I feel like Sway Esports, they are playing the game very uncharacteristically compared to what they were doing before. And nowadays, we are seeing Sway Esports like, hey, we want to see them control the tempo. We want to see them actually continuously making plays like what we're seeing right here, but punished.
Just can't find Eliora and break even. Now caught in a very, very rough spot. Able to get away at least, but they do lose Barbichi instead. Alpha A just happily taking these trades.
Yeah, Break Even actually manages to get out of that. I thought he should die there to Zion, but, well, some interesting angles with the way he hops over the wall with the motion on Gilme on the opposite side, actually able to get a turn for himself. That's great. So now they've got a little bit of gold back on their side, but not enough to really change anything, as you can see, because Zion is just farming on their side of the map.
And just realized that Merps went for the Purify instead of the Flicker. There's so much crowd control that he needs to consider, but overall at Alpha 8, I believe even through the Purify, they have more than enough to keep Merps in place, right?
Uy, nakuha ni Pani.
Far in the jungle.
Ay, hindi niya.
Again, this Feather Airstrike, 0 impact from Barbichi.
The poor guy is 0-3 in terms of retributions. He's 0-3 so far. He's getting jungle diff really, really hard by Zion, and it's costing him his purple buff. It's not the end of the world, but it's so annoying as a fanny.
He's 3 levels down. And the gap just continues. He shows up bot, tries to get some XP, and is not pressured by Eliora. Uh-oh, Guillaume.
He's still got the mechanics, but let the man play the game.
He's not able to play the game at all. Can't play on the link, can't play on the Fanny. Now they'll lose the bot tier 1, and the only space that Guillaume had created is now gone.
Yeah, but look at top side, right? We see that Sway Esports are actually utilizing this time to actually gain space for themselves. Looking, I mean, the purple buff is available. Guillaume, just go take it. Nobody's there. Oh, they tried for the dive? No? Okay, they back off.
They have the Kadita there. And we're finding a good kill. Something for Sway Esports. Signs of life on that top side.
Yeah, we couldn't broadcast that portion because it was just, it's too violent, man. You can't be getting away with murder like that. But Sway Esports, I think if they keep this up, if they keep pick going and playing for picks, they got to start spreading out and pairing themselves together, right? We're looking for like 2v2s, 3v3s, nothing more than 4v4s. Now, 4v4s even, I think Sway Esports just need to disengage.
And I think that's also something that Break Even needs to continue to enable, right? Contrary to being on the Franco, you do have a lot more solo queue agency on this Kadita. Alright, round number 4 at this purple buff. Zion just have more retry. He's gonna win that hands down. Feather Airstrike again, just missing everything. Yome
Oof,
really
muntik.
careful, almost gets sniped by the Dawning Light. Break Even in the thick of things. Trying to go for Zion. Ends up getting destroyed, but Trace one back.
Kinakain sila ng kulot.
Erishiki finding a second one while the members of Sway Esports dropping like flies. Smoke flickers away. Jirachi by his side. Yome still gets the kill.
Alright, like at least we are seeing Sway Esports breathing life back in. 3-4-2 trade, not the most likely,
Kinakain sila ng
but
kulot, pre.
in terms of mentality.
Nakakari na naman. Mahilig mag-carry tong ano, Sway
So
Esports.
far, in terms of retro battles.
Finally, being able
Sa
to
bagay, hirap.
put herself
Lolita din kasi naka-counter yung
Levels
marksman
down.
kagad eh.
Gome isn't exactly doing poorly also, right? 2-0 on the Fanny. He's creating some space around the map, just not being able to get much XP.
No, and I agree. I totally agree with you. Gome is doing quite a lot on the map, but he could be doing even more if he just had a purple buff. He's limited by the amount of energy he's having, and Alpha 8 are having the time of their lives because Eliora continues to let this time drag on so that he can scale. Aaron Shiki as well. We're seeing the Wind Chant already being purchased.
They're just implementing the same method to shut down this Fanny as they did with the Link. Gome. Oh.
Okay, can't touch this.
Just reset in time.
Yep, can't touch this. Smoke playing like a Natalia. Wait, sorry. Break Even playing almost like a Natalia, so deep in enemy lines. Do you think they'll see this? They're gonna actually decide to fight this?
Pag nanalo sila dito, pag naka-preate yung carry.
You know, this assassin Kadita.
Although wala namang papatay sa Pani. Pag nag-segue yung Pani, wala namang papatay sa kanya.
Mid-tier 1, very, very important. Even
Pag nag-split push yung Pani, wala namang huhuli sa
might be
kanya
an
guys.
angle for Sway Esports to abuse.
Yo, Break Even is so patient. Oh, this could be it.
This could be it.
This could be it. Does he know about Eliora in the
Here it
bush?
comes. Eliora doesn't spot him. He doesn't enter the brush. Erishiki is the target. Doesn't burn down to the glowing one. This heals up with the DHS in time.
No.
Oh, they didn't find the kill. That was crucial for Sway.
Oh, wait. Eliora flickers forward for this kill, and he doesn't get much off of it. But now, this is going to bait out a full-blown fight.
Yome trying to run interference, but it's running dry of energy.
Di kaya ng PH pa
Up
rin.
in front. Roski is there. Break even once more in the flank angle. They caught Merbs as he forced the carry out of the fight. Lord dropping low. Gyome coming back in.
though.
Can he win this retry fight?
Oof,
He
nahuli yung
stopped
Pani.
Lord attempt.
Ay, patay pa yung Pani.
And
Disaster.
Gyome dies.
Oh, that's so
Disaster,
frustrating
pare.
as well. Zion actually retreat earlier, and Gyome had the opportunity, but was just ever so slightly off the timing. That's so sad. Sway could have bought back so much time on
Na-hold
their
yung pani
side, or at
ng
least
Lolita.
drag
Nastan
this
pa siya
game
ni Lord.
extra 5 minutes, but now Alpha 8, this is going to be their time to actually claim as much gold as they possibly can.
Science even going to take that purple buff. And Gyome knows that it has to deal with this top side. He's surrendering so much. Break even coming through. Eliora is the target. Break even just finding crucial space for Sway. Now the fight breaks out. Vinsmo putting up the bulwark. Zion in danger, but he's just gonna go in, commit. Haroski brought low. Gyome joins the fight. Haroski still alive. Jirachi forced the flicker. And Arashiki not showing himself at all.
A 1-for-0 trade in favor of Sway Esports. They can pull this back. A 5k gold lead is not impossible. Aaron!
Doing it again, this time not finding any kills, but was able to get rid of that bottom inhibitor, so Alpha 8 still finds some space.
Yeah, I think right now Sway Esports need to recognize that this is a continuous habit from Aaron. Like, he's been doing this time and time again. Under inhibitor turns, he tries to zone them away, especially when they have Lord. They need to hold up a battle spell, and especially for break even, he needs to hold up his Petrify to cancel him and potentially look for a full one-shot.
Bit of arrogance from Aaron Shiki.
We'll see how long he's gonna get away with it. That's the truth. Now
He has been punished once, courtesy of the inhibitor.
Okay,
shot.
okay, that's fair.
That
is
one
fair.
time. But it's not a product of Sway Esports.
Yes.
The players themselves haven't been able to stop him.
Well, let's see how far this is going to go, right? Because this game has been pretty slow moving for Alpha 8. They haven't been needing to do any flashy plays. All
Ba, second game na ba to? Oo, pare. 1-0 na. In favor of Indonesia.
Into the mid game, and now they have not lost their lead. Again, purple buff never falling into the hands of Sway Esports. It's only been given over to them 2 times, one of which was a steal.
And they had to fight tooth and nail for it.
Yep.
That one handed over to Aaron Shiki. And Gyome has been doing a great job of preventing all these waves from getting synced up. He's going to where Jirachi is and knows that the glue can't really do much against him. Almost high end. Damage a lot. Break even coming through. This time Eliora flickering away. Break even not able to find the assassination. In fact, Roski is the one that gets caught and just completely destroyed. They have lost that front line. The Aluminum Blast expended just in case. Second inhibitor in danger, but no medium wave. Gyome will cut it and make sure that Alpha 8 doesn't crash that wave.
Yeah, he's trying to be as annoying as possible, trying to stagger these waves as much as he can, scrape up a little bit of gold. But if you notice, right, a majority of the members of Alpha 8 are extremely healthy. They're setting up for this Lord. Wait, no. Arashiki, so arrogant!
And still gets away with it.
No commitment. Unfortunately, Gyome does not know whether the rest of the members are going to be there. And you can see it. That's why esports are taking protocol. They're like not 100% sure that the Lord is being done right now.
And Gyome even committed his ultimate. He's still not able to finish off the plot. Now with this second Lord, life just got infinitely harder for Sway Esports.
Yeah, Alpha 8, wow. You gotta give it to them. The fakes that they've been pulling with Arashiki and as well as Vinsmo really sell the idea that they're hiding somewhere across the top side of the map. And Sway Esports just bought into it, and now they're...
It's the mind games, right? You see a Claw just fly in with a blazing duet.
It's like, yeah, it's like, why is he so confident? He has to have a team behind him.
But
He'd be crazy to go in by himself.
No marksman would do that.
Hirap din ang pani na ganyan, wala nang damage. Minions na lang kalaban mo.
From 4 Secret.
Minions na lang kalaban mo.
They have each other in their direct context. Arashiki, can't wait to see him do it again. He's got the blazing duet. Let's see.
Break even has to petrify. Maybe that is the way. There's a way to catch Arashiki. Lord coming in through that bottom side. Break even still waiting. But Alpha 8, they're pretty far away. Might just get all the inhibitor turrets. Gyome not able to stop the mid lane one. In fact, he's getting punished. So much output from Alpha 8. Gyome forced back. All the inhibitors are down. Break even going in. The petrify completely whiffs, and he ends up losing his own life. And Alpha 8 have found
Nice
2
one.
kills.
Patay Xavier.
He the Xavier, but Gyome
Ikaw ba dito pa ata?
life. Jirachi just dives the fountain because why not? Now blazing duet unleashed by Arashiki.
Tapos
They try
gago
one for
to
one
si
with the
Hero.
Crystal. still goes down.
2-0 pare!
A 2-0 victory over Sway Esports in this grudge match.
2-0 tayo!
A dominant fashion.
Oh my
Hindi
goodness.
replay
what
to
a
par,
game
live
coming
to
out from
par.
Alpha
Literal na
8.
live to
They
par.
played such a tactically sound game. It is cold-blooded, just like their logo. Red eyes, an aura of vengeance here. I mean, again, history continues to repeat itself. Alpha 8 2-0 against Sway Esports.
Cleaner and more decisive than last time, and so much more dominant. This
Talo PH, 0-2 pare.
You look at the results right now.
Hindi matutupad yung top 1, top 2, top 3, top 4 ko na PH team. Bias pa man din ako.
Last time didn't even matter.
Yeah.
So Esports got completely crushed.
They did. I will say that Sway Esports, towards the end of the matchup, they definitely were starting to struggle, and the goal difference was just too much, especially for a Kadita support where you need to snowball, just wasn't finding the kills and even messing up a couple of combos in the later stages of the game. But Hiroshi, just so disrespectful. He understands that as long as Horosky isn't within the area, nobody else can deal with him unless they have that Petrify. Just good communication from Alpha 8, good tactical choices across the map, and Sway, they tried their very, very best to pull this back against Alpha 8, but
Balik tayo
it
mamaya.
was not their day.
And you know, and the most interesting part is that Sway Esports put up a better fight in game 2, but it ended faster than game 1. And overall, it's fair to say that for game 2, it is jungle and gold lane gap. In Alpha 8, they were just styling on Sway Esports.
Yeah, just losing a majority of those retributions, especially with the early game comp that we saw from Alpha 8. And I think the worst part about it all is that Sway Esports is playing a composition that's very dive heavy, very snowball oriented, because a lot of their heroes start falling off in the later stages of the game or take too long to scale. For example, Kadita as a support, without that snowball, you won't be able to start competing with people who start picking up Athena shields, for example. Like Eliora, he's already got the Athena shield on his side. We're seeing Vinsmoke also has an Athena shield on his side as well. Sorry, it's supposed to be Jirachi, but you get what I mean.
Yes. For some reason, Alpha 8 just gets juggled around.
Well, Vinsmoke, he really wants to be an EXP laner, but no one gives him the opportunity, so he's just like, at least have my portrait as the EXP laner.
Yeah, it's fine. What matters is that they won, right?
Yeah,
They can jump on up the heroes, but as long as they won.
They're crushing it. They're crushing it. Look
Yeah.
at it. Look at the difference. 10 purple buffs to 3. 10 purple buffs to 3. And one of those purple buffs were stolen for the side of Sway Esports. And the rest were either just given or not contested. Just such a hard game to play, especially when the early game doesn't go in your favor.
So much more brutal than game 1. At least in game 1, Yome can still access the Alpha 8 jungle for that purple buff, but in game 2, it just could not even infiltrate the Alpha 8 side of the map. Honestly, I don't even think that Sway Esports have done it, except for break even, right? But even then, he's trying to be so patient and wait for those openings, but he just couldn't find it.
I felt like Sway Esports, to a certain degree, might have started outplaying themselves, right? Alpha 8, especially with some high-level IQ plays, especially with the fakes that they were pulling off.
Oh, yes.
And it wasn't just the ones that we noticed. There was also moments where it was just cross-map, right? Cross-map potential fakes with just raw confidence. You walk in without, and knowing that your whole team has not given any information to your opponents. Man, as a laner, that would freak me out, because why is this person so confident if not for his team being nearby?
Yeah, why is this Claude showing up under our inhibitor with an ultimate? I don't know. Why is no one pushing with the Lord in the bottom lane? I don't know either. You know, Break even waited a full minute, and all he saw was the Lord.
Right? It's just well played to Alpha 8. They played a solid game here. Great choices overall. Their traps are looking better. They've improved so much from the last time we've seen them, and they continue to get better. Hiroshiki, well done to you, but Cyan coming out as the MVP of the series, and I think well deserved. He knows how to punish purple buff using junglers.
And this is where we find out that 0.4 KD is just on Lolita.
Yep,
He has
it's just on Lolita.
He has a
for sure.
10.5 KD overall, well, in this series with this 2-0, but also a very reliable frontline for the team. And at the end of the day, it's just, we came into this series with Alpha 8 as sort of the underdog, you know, with Sway Esports as the favorite to win 2-0, but Alpha 8 completely flipped the script.
They did. Great preparation overall, good team play, great decision making. They've definitely, like, if you watch their previous matchup against Sway Esports compared to now, you can definitely see
Oh yeah.
big changes, right? You would have expected Sway to obviously win because they lost to one bad tactical decision, but Alva making compounding good choices really snowballed out of control.
We came into this with the last series as a reference, scrappy fights, long games, Lord coin flips. None of that happened in this series.
The most that we saw was a coin flip on the purple buff, and even then it was still in their favor. That's how brutal it
It was
was.
a purple buff coin flip.
Oh, man. But with that being said, that means that we only have one final matchup of today, and that's going to be A8 up against Tupai. And one of man, I said Tupai really weird there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to call myself out on that one. But I will say that one of these teams will be going home. It's going to be a do or die battle in the lower bracket best of 3.
A8 have warmed up, even though it was kind of a cold-blooded beatdown early on. But for Tupai Esports, at least they get to see what A8 is capable of. It can bring to the table. So both teams, having an advantage in their own sense. But in this case, I would say that A8 definitely felt more of a favorites compared to Tupai.
I know. Unfortunately, that just is going to be the case.
Oh,
And
yes.
not to mention that A8, they probably had a wake-up call after the cold-blooded beatdown just now.
I feel like any team that goes up against Game Lab and gets crushed didn't get to warm up too much, right?
It's brutal, of
It is
course.
brutal.
But with that being said, the lower brackets will have to wait in a little bit. Hopefully, you stick around after these short breaks. Make sure, keep your eyes open. One of these teams are going home. We'll see you then.
The Snapdragon Pro Series powered by Samsung Galaxy is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, Monster Energy, and Kachi Shop.
got no room on stage for no amateur pop stars. Me and my clique don't fear, trashing hotels like some animal rock stars. You opened up with a bang up job, but it's time for a real deal headline. Line so big that I can't find the end. I'm gonna kill this airtime. Don't get too comfy. You make the scene now, they gon' love me. I got the keys now, get your own seat. You must be senile if you think you tag along. I'm sorry, my friend, you pegged me wrong. You must be lost, man, your time is gone. If you think I give you the blueprint, you better be stupid or else you're deadly wrong. So long I've waited to take the night. Got no more patience. I think it's time. The man of the year, so you're right. I waited all my life and now it's all time. So long I've waited.
All right, it is elimination time, people. It's gonna be A8 Esports taking on 2Pi Esports in this lower bracket best of 3, and we are here to be your harbinger of bad news. I'm Muskie, and alongside me is Gideon.
Welcome back, everybody.
I botched that. That was so bad.
Don't worry about it.
Oh boy.
Oh, don't worry about it. Just like a lot of these teams needing that warm-up, unfortunately, there are no more warm-ups for this best of 3. It's going to be a do or die between two teams here, 2Pi and as well as A8. Only one of them will be moving on here in the lower brackets after this best of 3.
It's gonna be a brutal one because A8, they got a very rude awakening call courtesy of Game Lab. It was a complete spanking. I don't think A8 got to do too much. But for 2Pi Esports, they got to witness the amount of beating that A8 received. Maybe that's going to help them prepare better for the series.
Hopefully so, because A8, they are definitely, if they weren't awake previously, they have to be awake now. And I think for 2Pi, unfortunately for them, man, I keep saying 2Pi really weird. Don't worry about that. I'll eventually correct it. Don't worry, chat. I'll get to that. But for the most part of them, they have been considered the weaker team amongst the rest of the series. People here in the Snapdragon series. And it's becoming a struggle and more evident that the skill level is just so different. Whether it be coming down to the macro level, or even the micro level, you will see those differences. You could make the most correct decision of your life, but if you can't execute and vice versa, it never goes well.
And I think to a certain extent, when you look at the lower bracket run that they had, the teams that they fought weren't as threatening as AA Esports, right? They had to play, they eliminated Miracle Gaming, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's safe to say that AA is still the stronger team.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough here. But let's have a look at a recap just in case you guys aren't caught up to speed with what is happening with the Snapdragon Pro Series here. Because when we're looking at this match, the team losing in match number 1 will fight against 2Pi Esports. In this case, it's going to be 8-8.
And this is going to be very important for 2Pi Esports because they are the only Malaysian representatives left in this tournament, facing elimination and up against a team that has been performing incredibly well so far until they met Game Lab. And again, when you look at your screens, you look at the series that 2Pi Esports had to play is against Miracle Gaming. And the harsh reality is Miracle Gaming, when you compare them to A8, what 2Pi Esports have to play against later on, AA is just another cut above.
Yeah, so that's why we're going to be having to look at the two players who are going to try and make a difference in this matchup. In this case, it's going to be Dodol as well, Dodol Alfonso from 2Pi Esports, right? He has been consistent, and that's what we need in a mid laner. Now, the big issue is how are they going to start pairing it with the supports, with the EXP laners, to make sure that 2Pi Esports are moving in tandem with each other, very coherent style, because if we're talking about A8, the way that they move across the map, again, they'll just out-mechanic you with that 1v1 and eventually just snowball off that lead.
And 2Pi Esports, even though we say that they got to see a bit of what AA is all about because of how fast AA was beaten now, there are still a lot of info that was left as a question mark if you are on the side of 2Pi Esports. And of course, we get to see this highlight moment where Lixer got that Savage. At the end of the day, we're looking at that at that mid lane matchup again. And this time is Dodo Alfonso against Richie, who has been consistent as a mid laner.
Yeah, he's been trying his absolute best, but there are times where he does utilize his ult, especially with Feather Airstrike, in a bit of an awkward position, sometimes a little too far up, sometimes a little too far back. He hasn't hit that sweet spot just yet. That's why I think A8 Esports haven't fully woken up, especially in their game against Game Lab. But now, again, it is the final moment here. Losers get eliminated, and they can't afford that loss.
And they have had some time to look back at the previous series, figure out what went wrong, make some adjustments, and they definitely have a lot of intel on Dubai Esports as a whole. And hopefully that is going to help them prepare better for this elimination series, because if they can knock out the last representative of Malaysia, it's going to be a confidence boost for them moving through the entire lower bracket.
Definitely, and I think the lower brackets are only going to get tougher from here on out after this round, because again, a lot of the upper bracket, usually it has to be decided by whoever loses from the upper bracket to at least move on. So it's not the most comfortable position in the world, but I don't think it isn't a spot that they're unfamiliar with.
If you look at the team that got knocked down, aside from A8, we also have Sway Esports, who dropped 0-2 to Alva 8 in that upper bracket, which was not really within our prediction, but that just makes the lower bracket so much more interesting.
Yep, exactly. Again, for all we know, Sway might just win it all the way through the lower bracket.
There is a
for all
chance.
we know. Same goes for Tupai. But with that being said, just in case that you guys don't know what's going on, A8 Esports is going to be playing with Fondir, Ozil, Richie, Arfi, and as well as Kesu.
And forget about what happened in an upper bracket. It felt like A8 Esports were not able to play the game to their will. In this case, they will have a second chance to go up against Dubai Esports. If there's anything we've seen from A8 back in the earlier stage of the Challenge Group stage, is that they can play those long drawn out games. And if they get to that point, that's where A8 Esports would really show up.
Again, with solid foundation, really good protocols for every situation, A8 Esports just needs to maintain the tempo if they want to have any sort of advantage over Dubai Esports. It's very clear that their biggest weakness points is when they don't have that level of control or can't keep up with the tempo of their opponents. It can be extremely devastating.
And I want to add on to that point, right? Because I feel like it is something that Dubai Esports can take advantage of. They're just, as a region, Malaysia, a bit more scrappy, a bit more aggressive, love to fight, a lot more chaotic. So when we look at Dubai Esports and the entire roster, where we have, let's see, Laser, Dodo, Real Mitsuno, and Jeff Hardy, you take that chaos, you throw it in the face of A8, you mess up that tempo. Maybe that is the remedy that Dubai Esports can use to overcome the enemies.
Possibly, but I don't know. Oh, with the first day of Puasa happening tomorrow, the first day of fasting for those who don't know, Dubai Esports, if they're going to give everything, now is a really good time before they don't have the energy for it tomorrow.
Yeah, very, very important. This also allows them to breathe a sigh of relief moving into tomorrow, right? The work is not done just yet, but you definitely do not want to go into that first day of fasting with a loss.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's definitely something that they're going to be thinking about, but they can't afford that right now. So hopefully Dubai Esports either adopt the true Malaysian meta, which is just, ram into a wall as many times as you can, and eventually the wall will break, or whether or not the wall is strong enough to hold them back.
Well, we saw that wall crack. Well, we saw that wall get destroyed early on. We'll see if Dubai can bring the same amount of chaos. But for this series, we're going to take a look, focus on the gold laners from both teams, Real Mitsuno and Arfi.
Yes, Rumitsu as well as Arfi. Again, very different stats all across the board, with Arfi having a majority of the stats leaning towards his side. The only big difference is the damage taken per minute, where he's definitely had more scrappier fights, more bigger team fights, and more games being played overall in comparison to a team like Dubai. And unfortunately for them, they're not even breaking up into the 700s in terms of average GPM, which is a bit concerning for a gold laner. But we do see some redeeming points, like DPM, for example, at least hitting the 3,000 mark, and overall KDA being at 5.8.
And Real Mitsuno is one of the very few gold laners that has that Brody as one of the top 3 picks overall. And I just want to throw this out there for Arfi. Damage taken per minute, 3.6k. I think a lot of that value came from Game Lab.
Yep. Just the entire game put into his stats.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It's really brutal, but you can definitely see that there's a couple of similarities between the two. Number one, overall playstyle. Secondly, they both play Claude as well as Melissa. The only difference is that when Army has nothing else and wants to go and doesn't have his Swiss Army knife in Claude, he goes for the second best thing, which is usually going to be the Beatrix. Brody is a little bit more lane focused and more importantly a huge cleanup mechanic, as Real Mitsuno is going to be that guy if he gets that lead to not only break a lane, instantly lane swap and continue to press his advantage.
And interestingly enough, even though RV had 2 games to pick that Claude, he never picked that hero overall, right? He went from Melissa to Beatrix as seemingly just want a way to stop a dive when Claude can also be an option. That does beg the question, what is the thought process of RV as a goal laner?
It's hard to say. It really is hard to say, especially after their game 1 against Game Lab where he lost the lane to Melissa. So it could be one of those things where there's just a lack of information across the map. But then again, it's tough to say. Maybe there is some redemption in this upcoming game.
And speaking about redemption, 2Pi Esports is also looking for redemption for them as a team, and we do have an interview with them, so do enjoy.
Hello, my name is Dodo Alfonso. I'm from Tupai Sport. I play mid lane for Tupai Sport. Malaysia boleh. Kalau boleh, kita orang nak jumpa dengan tim Tiger Wong lagi sekali. Sebab hari tu kita punya drafting agak tidak memerasakan. So, kita akan nak jumpa dengan Tiger Wong kembali. Untuk tim Tupai Sport, kita orang percaya antara satu sama lain. So, kita orang punya chemistry pun dah semakin lama makin improve. So akan datang kita akan buat terbaik lah. Kunci kejayaan kami untuk memenangi game berdepan dengan American Gaming hari tu adalah communication. Kita orang punya communication kita orang improve gila waktu tu dengan game plan kita orang. Draft kita orang semua terbaik waktu tu. Untuk game akan datang, kita orang punya confidence nak menang tu memang tinggi sebab kita orang kan baru dapat menang lawan American Gaming tu. So kita orang punya motivasi kita orang sekarang dalam keadaan terbaik lah untuk menangi game akan datang.
That is exactly what you need as a team coming into an elimination series. Just raw confidence and having the faith that you will win against a team that just got brutally beaten.
Yep, especially with a lot of trust and chemistry. Apparently some good communication amongst their sides. Hopefully that's going to be enough to carry that Malaysian flag over the finish line. But I don't know, A8 still looking like tough competitors overall. It's going to be hard to deviate from my predictions here. So, well, we'll see. We'll see whether or not Tupai is able to actually clutch up.
One of the good points Dodo brought up is how they were just so much more prepared in terms of drafting. And drafting was a big part of how AA got crushed in that earlier series. Maybe I want to see how 2Pi Esports has prepared their draft for this series overall.
What about you guys at home? Are you guys prepared for the upcoming drafts? Are you prepared to support your favorite teams here? Don't forget that you can actually start voting for your favorite teams on the Twitch chat in our live. So go check that out. Depending on which platform you are on, you can always just switch back to Twitch and quickly put that prediction in before coming back and checking out on whatever streaming platform you're on.
Yeah, if you're unsure of what team you want to vote for, well, don't worry. We also have our own prediction, and judging by last series, you don't have to necessarily trust our prediction.
Nope, not at all.
But we think that A8 is gonna win this 2-0.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to say because Tupai, the overall performances haven't been as pleasing as we would like to see it throughout, their journey throughout challengers and their journey to get to this point, especially in the lower brackets. It's unideal, right? And I think A8 has shown more, historically, what's the word for it? More, I wouldn't say dominance per se. Consistency, yeah, that's the word.
And you look at the games that 2Pi Esports has played. We throwback, I believe they played Tiger Wong and they got crushed and then they barely beat Miracle Gaming. But Miracle Gaming isn't a true indicator of strength of 2Pi Esports as a team. But the one thing that I'm sure is a good indicator of strength and power is one of our sponsors, Samsung Galaxy, having the latest product, the S23 Ultra. And with Ultra in the name, you know that it's going to be good. Good power, good performance when it comes to gaming, when it comes to taking photos, when it comes to being the most efficient phone. This is the product you want to go for.
Don't forget, share that epic, level up with everybody else as well. Now, I'm excited for these games to actually start here for this upcoming draft because, again, I don't know whether A8 is going to adjust based on what they want to do or whether Tupai actually has a really good draft prepared specifically for this matchup.
And that is going to be the key point going into game number 1. But these teams will have a little bit more time to prepare for this inevitable elimination series where we go for a short break and we'll come back to kickstart this best of 3.
There's a Crevo! He goes for the flicker, he pulls CY with the Wisdom of Nature will eventually get pulled back, and that's gonna be Mahaliga losing their Call Strike marksman. Meanwhile, GPX, they have to think about their continuation because Daiso is kiting the Landslot as long as he can, and Ray is out of position as well as Mahaliga will completely shut down this Landslot. The Immortality comes in, the Winter Drunken swaps as well to keep him alive, and Ray! Evo Esports, BBN's right. Waiting for a moment to strike. Doing the August. Going for a Numenor Blast. Not going to be able to do too much. And that is going to be 2 inhibitors down. As they try to go for collapsing. Going for the pull. They might touch and cancel your name. Count Alter keeps them alive. Offer. Trying to keep them in check. He goes for the stun. But where's the damage? Flash Run finally drops the Count Alter away. But do they have the damage? Yes, they do. Flash Run kills off the parry. And now is going to see Eugene Heko. He is going to try and trade off, but Evo Esports, he somehow manages to defend. Going to extend it, but it is not going to be enough to reach him. Reset coming from now from soon, but you can see Rookie hammering on the tier 3s, but now the flame goes in for a jump, but where's the follow-up? Kyrie dives in, but Rookie getting free shots all the way through Trauma, looking at the wrong target. Now gonna give chase, but who are they gonna kill off? It is gonna be Teresa. The flame extends with the flicker, but the juggler still stands. Rookie as well. Trauma now exposed by this Moskov as they try to delay the inevitable, but see you soon. They cannot continue this fight. Arrow 404 is looking for objectives here. 20 seconds left before this next lord. It will deny the purple, but here comes the penalty zone. It connects on 3. Real manipulation comes in, and the counter penalty zone comes in, but it's not gonna matter. They just don't have the damage. Will slowly pick by, but from behind, here he comes, the Arlon. He gets the kill on Leone. He's gonna continue here, but the goal away is gonna be there. Offer gets the second one as well, but he's gonna be kited around as the Nami is looking to finish him off. They're waiting for the right moment, right? But Offer doesn't have the mana to continue with this fight, and he is gonna go for it. Blood on side gets assassinated.
Chocolate flavored both. Both, because they are both poop.
Poop flavor chocolate. At least it's still a chocolate.
I'm gonna choose the chocolate flavor proof, the second one.
Poop flavored chocolate. At least it's still a chocolate. I don't know how that works.
Look, we're not talking about the hypotheticals here. We're looking at the facts. At the end of the day, they're both still poop. But Dubai Esports up against A8 Esports in the lower bracket, round 2, match number 4. This best of 3 is going to determine which team is going to be moving forward and the other being eliminated.
And the final goal is to make it to next week, where it will be the challenge finals, but only 4 teams can secure that slot. For these guys in the lower bracket, the journey has just begun.
It's going to be a really tough journey as well as we see the tournament continue to move on within this week. It's going to limit the number of slots and shorten the odds of some of these teams, but hopefully they continue to improve. And so far, based on what we've been seeing from either side, whether it be A8 or whether it be Tupai, whether it be Tiger Wong, it depends on which of these teams. They continuously get better, all thanks to the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Yeah, so they have had ample time to really brush up the draft, and obviously today's latest patch being the X Factor. But overall, Dubai Esports and A8, both of them were teams that qualified from the region qualifiers. So there's so much more time for them to do preparations and kind of theorize how to approach this game. But I think that for Dubai Esports, there's a good chance that they have already prepared for A8, knowing that A8 had to go up against Game Lab early on.
Well, honestly, I can't wait to find out when we get into the draft. But hopefully, you know, these teams are really they don't have a lot of time to actually adapt, and more importantly, to innovate in this new meta with so many changes in the patch notes alone. Like, it's gonna be hard to keep up with everything going on, and especially since we're moving at such a fast pace here at the Snapdragon Pro Series.
Yeah, we've seen two sides of the coin especially for Fredrin. We saw A8 basically complete crush using Fredrin, but we also saw how Alva 8 find success with that Fredrin. I think it will still end up being a very important pick, at least for today and tomorrow, to buy esports this time on that blue side, getting that first pick.
Alright, so first pick is already going to be a slight advantage for blue side, but I think more importantly is how you set it up. In terms of what the meta is right now, it's very, very flexible. It usually starts with 1 or 2 openers. However, it depends on the flavor of the day. Some teams feel like, you know, Kaja should be the way to go. Other teams prefer letting the Joy through and going for that first pick, but at the end of the day, some meta picks are just better than others.
Esports, they have been banning out, I believe, the Joy. They've been banning the Kadita, which has been a big focus. Well, actually, Kadita was banned once by A8 and I believe once by Game Lab. 2By Esports will take the liberty of taking out the Kaja.
Alright. So now that Kaja is gone to 2By Esports, don't have to worry about it too much. I'm curious to see whether they still are going to prioritize the Fredrin. Then again, 2By Esports, we have seen them actually played it a couple of times. More importantly, their assassins have also come to light as well. So A8 Esports probably have their numbers down. Stats. Fanny gets banned out. Okay, let's see 2By. Where are they leading towards? Maybe we can get some kind of idea of what kind of draft they want.
Especially having that first pick, you have a lot more freedom in terms of banning, right? Because you always get that priority overall. I think the burden now lies with A8 Esports. I personally believe that Fredrin will still end up going through. It's more of whether 2By Esports wants to go for that first pick.
For sure. Usually when we see people draft, I would expect the first 2 bans to be very meta picks. The third ban is where it gets a little bit interesting, right? Where we see a little bit of nuance in these teams, wanting to have a slight advantage for maybe a team fight composition, a slight advantage, and maybe a particular interaction for one of the lanes. And that's what I'm trying to get from 2By Esports here. Now that the timer is already done, we should technically be seeing a ban coming up real soon here, but A8 Esports, they haven't really shown their cards yet either.
Farmis has been a big focus for a lot of these teams.
Huge, in fact, yeah.
Either pick or ban, and most of the time it's banned on that red side. So I think 2By Esports mostly will be focusing on, I think, someone like Glue, we've seen the Kadita getting banned in that first phase. Rarely we see like assassins, I think.
I don't know, man.
I'm present to get the Glue ban.
Yeah, I think Glue is way too safe. I feel like he's way too safe, and yes, he does provide a good amount of zoning, but I think at the end of the day, it's all about, like, it's about priority, right? A lot of these games so far here in the Snapdragon series, we've caught up a little bit. Arlot gets banned out for the side of 2By Esports, so again, they want to make sure that the EXP isn't really enabled here for the side of A8 Esports, especially for someone like Fondir, who's had incredible performances on the Arlot.
So Valentina gets banned by A8, which means that Farmis also gets let through, but I feel like Farmis as a first... Well, on blue side, Farmis is probably the pick that you go for lesser.
Okay. I feel like here's where you pick up Fredrin, because Fredrin
right?
or like your jungler. Okay, Martis, that's totally fine with me. So now A8 Esports, if they decide to be like, okay, we could technically let Farmis through, whoever gets Farmis, the opposing side would get an artillery mage almost straight away. Because Valentina is gone, so it's not like you can mirror your opponent anymore.
That makes the Farsa so much more desirable for A8, right? But
Drafting na par.
To already have a decent way getting through the Farsa. In the Martis is one, we've seen examples how Grot was picked up, Link to dive the backline. So far, today at least, Farsa has been really suffering in that win rate.
That's the thing, most people think that Farsa is like, wow, so much damage, a lot of inbuilt damage, therefore I scale faster, therefore I'm gonna be the big boy. You're not that guy, especially when you start thinking about the relationships between the EXP as well as, you know, the roam support. That's where it gets a little bit difficult. And now we're seeing A8 Esports. I'm expecting this Cho to go into the EXP.
They've done this before.
It's stressing me out, but I like the double flex pick coming out from A8 Esports.
I definitely do prefer the Fredrin, and I'm with you, I prefer the Fredrin in the jungle. We saw how Ozo played that Cho jungle, but without that flicker, it just makes life so much tougher for A8. It takes away that agency that you are looking for, right? And that means that Farmis goes over to 2By Esports. Now they have a front line that can really run into A8.
Well, let's see. Tupai Esports might shake things up if they lock in an artillery mage on top of the farmers. It forces A8 to be like, I guess I have to show my mage. I guess I have to show something, because I don't think they're going to show who their EXP laner is or support just yet. But instead, Tupai Esports take a different angle here, which I kind of like, where they lean more towards blue because they know they can naturally get an advantage.
And that kind of tells us what Dubai Esports wants to accomplish, right? Already have a very robust front line that wants to get in the face of A8 Esports. And even for Dubai Esports themselves, throughout the entirety of the league, they have been just running team fight comps. They like to get down and dirty. It is something that A8 Esports are glad to receive with their opening picks.
Yeah, and I think, all right. The fact that Tupai Esports specifically went for the blue here, they've shown their EXP. The only things that they haven't really shown is who's their roamer and who's their gold laner. Wild guess, but Tupai Esports is probably leaning more towards what exactly, what's a good matchup for real Mitsuno. And I think, they could ban out the Swiss Army knives on purpose to force them into a good matchup. Like force A8 to be early locking in Brody, early locking in these lane bullies, Melissa probably coming in from Harvey.
Is there still a chance that this Faramis goes into the role?
There is still a possibility, but it really depends on what these upcoming bans from A8 Esports is going to be, right? Is it going to be more teamfight oriented? Is it going to be how impactful is, yeah, there we go, gold lane bans. Alright, A8 as well as, I'm assuming Tupai Esports are kind of on the same page.
And A8 gets to call first dib on that second pick phase also. So if they want to show the gold laner afterwards, I think they are completely fine with doing so. You're taking away all these quick options. We have Melissa, Brody, Carry left in the pool. I think Brody is probably going to be the X factor. Dubai Esports, they do play the Brody.
It probably will be, but again, just quite a tanky frontline for the side of A8 Esports here, and I think Dubai have recognized that. The question is, how do you disengage from the composition of A8 Esports? I feel like if they lose out on Lolita, it could be a pretty tough game.
I think so too. I'm looking at the Kadita still being an option for both teams, but this is getting banned out by Dubai Esports, so we're going down that gold lane list.
Now the question is, does A8 double down on their plan? They're like, okay, let's just get rid of another marksman, right? Who else can we really get rid of? We can probably get rid of the carry early on because our tank up is going to be pretty...
PH pa rin to. Ay, hindi na.
Hopefully they don't fall
Tupai Esports tsaka 8, lower bracket to, guys.
Probably get rid of it. I see the Martis.
Lower bracket to, guys.
Because then it's going to be an almost guaranteed losing matchup. But I want to see A8 Esports ban out the Brody right here.
Take away what the Tupai Esports are comfortable with, I guess. But does the Brody bring enough for Tupai in that early game?
For Tupai at the very least, they get rid of Moskov instead. Okay, for Tupai at the very least, if they lock in the Brody, what they do guarantee is a winning lane matchup. And that says a lot because again, you can force priority, you can control the lane, you can basically starve out the laner before they even get to play the game. And I think with Brody, who is a one-item marksman in comparison to Carry, which is a 3-item marksman, it does take a little bit of time.
Dubai Esports having their last ban, I think that they will also double down on their gold laner. Letting out the hero pool. Not much left.
Yeah, really isn't much left.
Carry, Brody, what else do we have?
I think there's no point touching the marksmen at this point, right? If there's anything else they should really consider, it's probably how A8 Esports is going to disengage from these fights. I would also make an argument for like maybe to limit down on the number of supports that they could possibly pick. But instead, they're the ones who banned out the Brody. So unless Tupai Esports are confident in one of their picks, in one of their like off-meta marksman picks, I'm curious to see.
I'm
guessing carry here. If not, like, where are we gonna go with this, right? Are they gonna go with potentially mages in the gold lane as well? We haven't seen that in a while. Harrow, Lunox.
That kind of could be where we funnel towards, honestly. I think the main concern you mentioned earlier on about having Brody for Tupai Esports is that the lane is won by default. But now with Brody out of the way, A Esports, they're just going to pick up the carry, lesser things to worry about in lane. At least you guarantee that this carry won't get hard bullied by her little matchup.
I mean, if they lock in Harith, she's gonna get bullied really hard. Lunox even I would also make an argument for it, and I think that would force RP to actually pick up the Inspire instead of something like like Purify, like we saw previously, to at least give him a leg up in lane. But we'll see here. 2By Esports looking to finish off their composition. Is there anything else they can really flex around? I personally don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Oh, this could be tough. This could be, unless they throw Blue as a support. Nope, never mind.
Oh, yeah. We still have the Beatrix for 2By. So I guess that's one of the remaining gold laners on that list.
I suppose, but usually when you see Beatrix, you need an enabler, right? You need somebody who kind of sets it up for you. You can't expect someone like Martis to like push people back into your Bennett's rage. You can't expect, Farmis to consistently pull people back from Nibiru's passion. So I think with the Kadita, there is some form of setup. AE Esports, they're probably gonna recognize this. How are they gonna handle it though? Lancelot.
It's not that easy to catch.
Okay.
A lot of iframes, right, for a Kadita doesn't really catch Lancelot easily overall. Is this a XP lane Lancelot?
Fondir! This guy!
By the way,
this guy!
This is the guy that played Yin.
Like, if they just locked in Yin, I would have been fine with that as well. Like, at least there is some logic in taking away the call altar. But to have Fondir in the EXP lane like this, oh, you gotta give this man props. He's got some confidence.
Elimination series of all places, right? He is whipping up an XP Lancelot. I want to pick your brain quickly. What does this Lancelot accomplish? Like, how does he do into the blue?
I don't know. I've never seen Lancelot actually go up against the glue. My wild guess is that he's gonna push the lane real fast and get out of there like a Benedetta. Like that's all I can really think of, because I don't think he wins the 1v1 against glue. Actually, thinking about it. Yep, doesn't win that, or shouldn't win that.
Then I would have made so much more. Okay. Ozu is the Lancelot. So you can breathe a sigh of relief. So we get Fondir on the Fredrin.
Sad. Fondir didn't have as much confidence as Fondir had.
Well, one thing we can be sure is that they are not really affected by game lab.
That's for sure. They're definitely still having a good time overall, but I think it's going to be really important that these gold lanes are highly bloody. Look at that. Look at the early rotations coming out of this guy. Again, they're trying to punish real Mitsuo, as you saw in his stats. He is going to be carried for 2By Esports, so hopefully he gets the farm that he desires.
We've seen what the Martins can do, in the jungle against these kind of assassin junglers. 2By Esports, I'm looking for them to replicate that same success. In this case, I did mention that maybe the Kadita is a decent pick for 2By. I'm glad to see Jeff Hardy on this pick overall. You do have that lockdown. They do make their way towards the top side, seeing Ozu. He's going to hit level 4. So I don't think 2By Esports wants to be around. Dodo, see the Shadow Stampede, not able to pull RP back. I don't think it's the fight that they want to take.
I'm not so sure what exactly 2By Esports was trying to accomplish there. I don't think they had much of a plan. I guess they didn't know where exactly Ozil started and expected him to start on the orange side of his own jungle, but instead, now that they recognize this, you can see that Martis straight away walks into the enemy side, sees the Yve, and now he has to think twice. Do I actually want to take this camp? And if so, who's available to respond? They see the Lancelot in the mid lane, so now I think he should be able to take this no problem.
And they also have Kesu with him as well. Jeff Hardy still at level 3. Kesu is gonna hit his Will of the Dragon very soon. Bottom side, bit of a fight. Jace does find Ozu, but Ozu should be able to dash out of it. They have no way to lock him down, honestly, unless Dodo gets that Shadow Stampede connection. Even then, we are seeing kind of the durability of AE Esports. Fondir forced to flicker away. Dodo can't catch up.
Okay, now the rest of the team is going to try and get in there. Real world manipulation comes on through. They immediately find first blood onto Lancelot. His backline's getting attacked. Hesru tries his best, but Jace does not care. Fondir lives, but not long enough to kill Alfonso. As we see Richie, he's trying to run away. He gets pulled away by the Slam for now. No wait. Let Easy still alive. Breath of the Ocean to bail him out. Kesu isn't done with it. Third hit of Jiku, no, is more than enough.
Well, 3-0 for Dubai Esports. We were just questioning kind of the motives right, of Dubai Esports, but they won the turtle fight, got the turtle, they got 3 kills. And RV is behind in XP despite the early pressure from AA.
I don't know. It's rather interesting overall, right? Like, I would have expected Letizi to not be so disrespectful. He did not need to necessarily chase for that kill, but he did anyways. And now you can see that Martis, he wants it bad.
Yeah, Richie, he is in a rough spot. And we're able to get rid of Jace, and Richie survives. Dubai Esports fighting off a bit more than they can do. Dodo also sacrificed to the Wolves. RV picks up that kill. And this is good recovery for AA.
False sense of confidence onto Jace. Hard to say, but he definitely shouldn't have pushed up that far. You can definitely see the bloodlust in his eyes. Like, he knew that he was within range to actually get the decimate off. Just couldn't seal the deal, close the lid on that story. But Jeff Hardy, guess who?
Not gonna even try.
It would have been good. At least check him out, I suppose. But Kesu zones him out, and this means that Jeff Hardy is really out, has to walk through into the lane if he wants to make sure that Real Mitsuo is going to be alive in case AA Esports tries to at least go for a dive. Here's the reinforcements.
Charging on the Jikundo, goes straight for Jace, pushes him back, and with RP around here, it's going to shred through his health bar. The Count also keeping Jace alive, also going in for the knockout, finds the kill, and Kesu Shunbo the wing is dragged back by Dodo. So at least Dubai Esports, they trade 1-4-1.
Yeah, but Jeff Hardy is in a really unconventional position. Arfi, he might not know.
And Arfi dashes away, just getting the timing right. Ozu is the one that's going to be put on the chopping block. Real manipulation. Ozu with the iframes, dodges everything. Latizi moves on forward. Arfi flickers the safety. Latizi really wants that kill, but Kessel comes in and kicks him away. Real Mizuna, how do you miss a point blank shot? And then he's going to get punished with death. Finds Arfi, but AA finds 4 kills in return.
Oh my god. This is what happens. You know, I have a big issue with team members just not taking the kill when... like, I get you want to funnel your carries here, but there are some situations where you just gotta finish it off. I don't know. It could be one of those situations where Dodo wasn't in range or just waiting for a cooldown. Hard to say.
Another fight. Fondia and Kesu doing a great job of keeping Dubai Esports away. Fondia should have enough durability to take the bullet from afar. Dubai Esports don't have damage. Dodo will try to pull him back, but Fondia gladly takes it. And Dodo now forced to pop the altar. Kesu is there. Fondia gets dragged back by Letizi. And Real Mizuna comes in for the pickup, finding a double kill.
Yeah, but this is what we expect. Dubai Esports, they know they can get into these fights. They know that there's a lot of protocols in AA Esports' overall game plans. Jeff Hardy is just being really annoying right now. Tickling Kesu with auto attacks.
Finally buy a bit of space for Real Mizuna. Also, to chunk down that tier 1 Kesu. Dangerously low, Dodo gets kicked away. But Dubai Esports, they grab a tier 1. At least a trade. They did get the bottom one.
Yeah, RFE was able to get that all by himself. But Mitsuo currently 4-1. He's already got the Blade of Despair into the Swift Boots with a Fury Hammer by his side in comparison to a Corrosion side. That's about it. No golden staff just yet coming out from RFE.
It's a minor goal lead for AA Esports. Less than 1,000.
Less than 1,000, but still, it makes a difference here, right? It really does make a difference at the end of the day. Now, 2 items fully complete for the side of RV. It's still going to be a little tough here because Blade of Despair is a high-value item which gives a lot of base damage. Oh, Fond here.
Looking for Dodo, gets a taunt, puts him on the edge. Kesu is also there with them. They do get the burst off to Richie, forcing the flicker, going straight for the Eve. The ultimate getting cancelled. Real manipulation, but Kesu finds the kick, gets rid of Jace. RP shows up, Dodo in danger, RP just gonna flicker forward for this kill. Letizi couldn't save him. And Ozio just easily sidestepped that bullet. AA getting the better end of the trade.
Yeah, he's gonna take the Thorn Rose here, but I don't think it matters at the end of the day. Is there a setup that can be done? Jeff Hardy is taking the left side of the map, but he should be taking the right, especially since Turtle is spawning up. But what do they do now, right? They have to make a decision. Do they go back to the lane? And yes, It means that they are going to be giving up on this for now with Latizi as well as Noodle, trying to, buy some time in hopes that Montes gets here.
Blue is going to try, but no one is there to contest that retribution. Jeff Hardy straight towards Richie, decides to not commit. Now Kesu is going to find him. They'll keep him controlled. Thorn Rose almost finishing off Jeff Hardy. Kesu able to get away. Fondia getting a big taunt. No follow-up just yet. Re-engage from Ozu. Straight into the back line. Donald completely deleted. Jeff Hardy gets out, but his teammate will be hung to dry. Latizi still healthy again, taunted by Fondia. Jace re-engages. Where's the damage from Tupai Esports? Jace doing a fantastic job of keeping everyone under control, buying enough time for Beatrix to show up. Real Mitsuno pumping out his own damage. Ozu getting clipped at the very end. Still gets away. Jace, can you find his final kill?
Okay.
Still has to decimate with him. And AA Esports doesn't win that fight.
Yep, they don't lose. They don't win that fight, but they even out the kill score. But more importantly, AA Esports are focused on the objectives. They're 1 turret up, 2 turtles on their side compared to 1 turret and 1 turtle for the side of Dubai Esports. Look at that score, 11-11 with a slight 1.4k gold lead on the side of AA Esports.
The DHS for RFE done. Rumisuno just got the Malefic Roar as well. All things considered, it's a great game for the Beatrix. 5-1-1, 2 core items, ready to join the fight.
Yeah, but what sacrifice here? Like Richie, he may be 1-2-9 in comparison to Alfonso, who's 0-4-6, right?
Kain boy, habang nanonood.
Richie eventually is going to scale, and I don't know. Goodall, hopefully he's got what it takes to actually get the items that he needs, and in this case, it's going to be a Clock of Destiny and a Lightning Charge.
There it is, Jace, kick back again. Call Ulta used very early on. Now real one manipulation into the face of everyone. CC just trying to buy some time for his team, but he is also dropping low. Jeff Hardy accesses the back line, but ends up getting picked up instead. And RVE now has free reign. Dubai Esports losing their Kadita. Mid tier 1 getting pressured. Also going straight for the kill. Finds it.
Nicely done. Good dashes through the teammates of Dubai, but it's not over just yet.
Still looking for more. AA Esports wants to make it decisive. Jace just kicked away from his turret. Can't find a decimate. And that will be Ozu picking up a killing spree.
Yeah, again, some just weird, like, I understand that Dubai is looking to get certain things back, but they have to recognize that AA Esports is playing very objective-based, right? Understand that whenever an objective timer is coming up, keep in mind that AA Esports probably have already thought about it. No, that steal is going to happen there. I'm sorry, Real Mitsuo, it's not going to happen like that.
Definitely not in that fashion. Not against AA at least.
Yeah, not against AA, but also he's been playing a very solid game on Lancelot. His mechanics are extremely sharp.
Yeah, finally able to play the game. Get to play the game, it makes a lot of difference.
Look, he got access to Lancelot, and he is not a purple buff, jungler dependent sort of person. I mean, it's important to have, but it's not the end of the world if you don't have it.
Jeff Hardy with a lot of patience, but he had Kesu that intercept his Kadita. Overall, AA Esports, they have all the bases covered. Looking for the glue. Jeff Hardy is going to show up right now, going straight for RP with the Pentagon.
Parang lahat na lang itong carry ngayon laging talo. Panibakbakan nga eh. Panibakbakan nga sila eh.
Now they have to split up their
Shout out sa'yo, Roland. Shout out sa'yo, boss.
Martis should be able to clear up that top side. Mid-tier 1 being held down.
Sorry.
As well as supported.
Patay ako, shit.
Wait, potential play coming out here.
Kesu. Is he doing? No, he doesn't commit. And with Jay showing up and also being dead. Ooh, what a dodge.
What a dodge. Good call coming in from Tupai. Going up to the top side and saying, you know what? There's nothing we can do. They're setting up for a potential kill. We might as well let the tier 2 fall on top side rather than losing a tier 1 mid. That's just the differential of tower value.
All things considered, the fact that Tupai Esports have been able to hold on to this mid-tier 1 for so long has kept it so healthy. And they did lose a team fight early on as well.
Yep. They just want to make sure that those, the kill score, it's not about the gold, it's about the kill score here, okay? It's all about getting that mad respect.
Keeping that turret alive for all things. You should see how far Jeff Hardy is. He is on the hunt.
He's on the hunt. Man, he is looking for angles. He's playing like a Natalia, which is really weird to see on a Kadita, but if somebody falls into that trap, it's basically over with nobody else to actually open up the map. Or with Easy, he's gonna be careful.
Also coming, potentially play this purple buff for his own, but unfortunately cannot find it. He's just doing a fantastic job of being the front line alongside Jace. They have so much interruption onto A8 esports. One of the few things that the Frederick hates is all these displacements.
Okay, I mean the displacement is annoying, but I think more importantly is whether or not you can dodge the right abilities. Oh no.
Just lost the glue.
He did not want it. He wasn't ready, and I don't think they communicated very well where Kesu was. And he doesn't. He's not a threat. He doesn't have the way of the dragon. He's not going to do anything.
But it's very important for AA to find out where the Kadita is also.
But then again, I don't think Kadita's in positions which really threaten them, right? I think AA Esports recognize that Kadita is somewhere around the map. Where exactly she is, they have no idea. But as long as they stick relatively close together, they can actually find some stragglers rotating into her.
Second Lord on the board. AA slowly winning it down and looking where Kesu is. Oh, big angle, Jace. That is the target they were looking for. Kick into a weird angle. Call also comes up from Dodo, but actually doesn't protect Jace yet. Rumisuno pushing Kesu back. Huge damage from the Beatrix. Fondia unleashing that. Oh, just massive heal. The TZ now shows up, and Ozzy is in the back line. Got rid of the Farmers. AA Esports finding assassinations and he can't really do much. And Jeff Hardy, he has been spotted right into the tunnel of Fondia. They funnel him into a trap. And AA just found crucial kills. Ozil can do whatever he pleases. Real Mitsuno is next on the chopping block. And AA just pushing 2 Esports back. But it's not over yet. The DZ forced to flicker. Ozil looking for him alongside Fondia. They get the knockup. Taunt is there. DZ dropping low. And Ozil is unstoppable. Now remember Mitsuno not really threatened. Finally Jace gets an exchange. Fondia going down, but A8 is just there to buy time. That Lord is most likely going to be there. 2 Esports cannot reach in time.
Oh, that's so unfortunate there. Oh man, Jace, he could have just tried to book it, but he didn't have retribution, so they already called it off. They knew they were not going to get the Lord this time round, but they were able to actually get a number of kills back, just not enough to even out that gold lead that A8 Esports is making, but not that it matters, right? 3k gold lead means they hit the item power spikes faster, only by very marginal amounts, right? Because in about 2 minutes or so, I would argue 3 minutes, it's not going to matter.
A8 sending a squad into to the top side. Will we expect it? Scrappy fights from 2 Esports. It's been chaotic so far. All these drawn-out skirmishes. And even through that, Ozil has been able to find very crucial kills in that back line. So this Lancelot continues to be a thorn in the side for 2.
Yeah, A8 definitely have the mechanics to make this happen, and now the mid-tier 1 should be falling, but they should be able to hold on to the mid-tier 2. Jace is going to handle top side, but here's the thing, right? Real Mitsuo, as much gold as he has, as much as he is trying to do, he's going to need his team to peel for him. If he gets chopped down low, Ozil will chase him down to the end of the earth just to secure the kill.
So far throughout this game, we've been seeing Dodo having to use that
Nangyari. Lamang 8A.
Just aggressive AA has been Jeff Hardy.
Sipa.
Into the wall, pin
Patay Kadita.
Vaporizes. RP takes care of that. AA Esports have found slide opening on that mid side.
Wala nang sipa yan eh. Buwisit talaga slow ni Idpar oh. Buwisit talaga slow ni Idpar.
Ozu though, not gonna wait. Dodges the root again. Just mechanical prowess from this Lancelot. He is so good with the iframes, but he is the one that's forced back.
Oh, played really well by Ozil. That could have been a really big punish for the side of 2 Esports had they picked him off. And they also get the last outer turret here. Only inhibitor still stand with 60 seconds on the clock here. Ideally for A8, they should have ended this sooner, but 2 have been fighting back tooth and nail to ensure that the gold lead isn't too far. And now when we pull up the items, we are seeing very large differences between the two when it comes down to the supports, but that's because the items for Kadita are way more expensive compared to traditional tank items.
And AA Esports have been doing a good job keeping Jeff Hardy away from their carries. Early on, Jeff Hardy was able to get the 1 or 2 kills, but right now he can't reach Richie, can't reach RV, and it was AA Esports, but for most of the times, that have been finding those engages, isolating those front lines from 2
Dalhin ko sa CR monitor.
17 minutes
Wala na, tapos na.
so far. It looks like nothing is out of the ordinary. None of the crazy new items have been utilized as of yet. No.
Hardy forced to use that ultimate just to get away.
No, with Jace.
Ozil is going to show up. Jace spotted
Bang! Sa pulong Eve.
taking a heap of damage from
Ay, patay ang glue.
Might end up losing Latizi though. He's isolated. Oh,
Nabuhay, gago ka!
Can't find a kill. But with the front line from 2 Esports already forced back, AA Esports have found an indirect lead, and now they get a ton from Fondia. They take care of Jeff.
Patay yung
Hardy,
Martis.
and RP.
GG.
Jace.
Wala silang magawa. Wala magawa yung Bea, pre. Wala magawa yung Bea, pre. Patay! Walang magawa yung Bea, pre. Kinakalkal ng Chud tsaka ng Fedrin.
Yep, a huge hole, and they have a mid-pushing wave. Farmers can't be the only one here as they hold Levizi hostage for as long as possible. It takes a while to go down, but Ozil is going to secure it, and now these inhibitors should start falling, and that should also be Crystal, unless...
That's the flicker. No kick just yet. Crystal is going to give up his life for this, but Dodo Alfonso...
Nanalo din ang Kari.
Dying Crystal, and just
Nanalo din ang Kari.
enough to protect that. AA Esports finds a very scrappy game 1 win.
Woo, boy, Tupai tried to get under the skins of A8, but A8 hold on courageously, out-mechanicking their opponents here in game number 1.
They have been there before. Game Lab showed them the taste of chaos, and A8 have acclimated to that. It's a very, very... It wasn't the cleanest victory, but AA definitely was able to show their chops in this game 1.
Yeah, and especially with the protocols that they have against Tupai, that early game was a little chaotic, a back and forth, but eventually A8 were able to maintain the lead. And I don't know. I feel like Tupai Esports, especially with the Kadita pick for Jeff Hardy, he is struggling a little bit to communicate with the rest of the team and kind of predict where it's going to be because he doesn't have any information to work with. Not only that, his reads have been wrong on what A8 Esports is prioritizing.
You know, he has not been able to find those isolated kills. He hasn't been able to really support his team the way he wanted as a Kadita. See, in a lot of these disengages, he was just really trying to get to that back line, but Richie has a flicker, RP always has a flicker ready to deal with this Kadita, and 2 Esports just were out of their depth this game 1.
Yeah, they really were, and I think unfortunately for them, as much as Real Matul wants to be able to hard carry this game, it's kind of difficult on the Beatrix, especially with how tanky the composition from A8 Esports is, and on top of the fact that just the raw damage coming out from Ozil in this game, he came up pretty huge. Like, he's playing tank a lot this time round, not the raw full damage like he was previously, but oh, Dubai. I mean, they have to reconsider, go back to the drawing board here. How do they actually want to handle the late game? Because it feels like AA, they've got the late game on lock.
And at the same time, there was
Rudy Aton, shoutout sa'yo.
This carry was completely unleashed in this game number 1. You can see how fast AA Esports just shred through the front lines of 2 Esports.
Yeah, they shred so quickly, especially with the true damage based off of their max health. It's tough, especially for Ladizi, who's like in the front line, and it gives Ozil a chance to sunder his armor, and then Kesu using the Way of the Dragon on a glue, which is unideal, but in this case helps a lot.
Yeah, they have so much damage from AA that whoever gets kicked back by Kesu will instantly just perish, right? And then we saw that kept forcing Dodo to reactively use his ultimate to keep his team alive, and it's just not ideal for 2 Esports. They want to be able to hold on to the Cult Altar for longer, but they just couldn't afford to do so.
I think a lot of it comes down to just, well, I don't want to say resource management similarly to game, to our very first series of the day. I do want to say that 2 Esports, they like to get into these fights, right? But the question is, when and where do you fight? I think that's something that 2 Esports really needs to consider for these upcoming matches, because half the time, oh, let's fight, but they get caught in this choke point where Richie is getting max value out of his real world inflation.
And it's also when do you pull the brakes. But I feel like 2 Esports at a certain point just felt like they had no choice but to engage AA, not willing to give up some of those space, and AA just continue pushing that button, forcing 2 Esports to be in position that they don't want to be in.
Yeah, and I think that's something that A8 has over Dubai, and you can tell by just the hero damage alone, right? There's a whopping 100,000 differential. Well, I mean, I'm rounding it up just to make it seem bigger than it actually is, but still, it's pretty tough. Like, Richie is able to get away with so much in this game, and it feels like whoever gets caught in the box essentially is handed over to die.
And there was no one from that was able to punish RV overall. He was able to get free lane, and when we were looking at AA Esports kind of sieging turrets, RV was just on his own getting goal. But in this game, you have to really give it to Richie for the kills, not much, but the assist that he has on this Eve and the amount of times he survived those one-shot attempts from their party, that was enough to keep A in the game.
I mean, look at his total damage. 100,000, 104,915. That's 1/3 of the total team damage that was pumped out. Richie, I'm telling you, as soon as Tupai try to make a move, they say, okay, let's maybe pull the gun here. Instantly, you see the real world manipulation come down onto the Land of Dawn. And unfortunately for Tupai, thinking about disengaging isn't a possibility anymore as soon as Richie got access to the Ice Queen's wand.
And at the same time, you also have Fondia to deal with, you know, Frederick and a Cho on your tail. It's once you commit, you have to fully commit. And that is why we saw Jace really trying hard to disengage, you know, help his team shove it away on this Martis. Someone has to be sacrificed. Unfortunately, it ended up being the entirety of Dubai.
Yeah, I think, you know, especially for Tupai, they have to reconsider what they want, right? If they're going to play something along the line, if they're going to play something along the lines of Kadita, maybe consider Natalia instead, something less mechanically intensive, but still gets the exact same job, if not more, with the help of her passive to gather information for the rest of the team.
And you can even kind of go down a different route where you have the glue, right? It was led through the entirety of game number 1. But of course, series not over just yet. And if you wonder, how did Ozil demonstrate such mechanical prowess on the Lancelot? Well, that's because he has that Snapdragon chipset inside of his phone, and that also is one of our partners, Snapdragon Elite Gaming, when winning matters.
Yep, Ozil has been crushing it so far, just like how Snapdragon's Elite Gaming is top of the line in the market so far. And when we're talking about when winning matters, they'll give you the competitive advantage that you've been looking for. Similarly, we've also mentioned this before, but the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, I'm trying to get that right off the top of my head so I can go purchase one right after this. You can share the Epic and level up your own gameplay.
But if you want the full package of top-notch, high-level gameplay, you also need to get yourself a Monster Energy drink. You have the best phone with the best chipset. Now you need the best energy booster for yourself, unleashing the beast within you. So check them out at www.monsterenergy.com/gaming.
Yep, and once you want to finally calm down, go check out Kashi Shop, where you have some of the best deals already available to you in case you want to go and top up your game. Or maybe look for some discounts on the diamonds in MLBB.
Yeah, we just give you the full package, right? Best phone, best chipset, best performance, best energy drink, and best value in terms of getting your in-game diamonds. Just everything. Number 1.
Yep, number 1. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors, making the Snapdragon Pro Series by ESL so wonderful. Now, back to talking shop here. Game number 2 between these two teams. A8 currently 1 point, match point against Tupai, who might get eliminated if they lose this next round.
The stakes are higher than ever for Tupai Esports. The last vestige of the Malaysian representative, basically. They had to knock out their own brethren, which was Miracle Gaming, and now they are the ones who are on their last hope.
Unfortunate indeed, but necessary in this competitive landscape. I do think Tupai, they've got the right idea. The question is the small nuances of the composition. It felt like they had a really solid game plan of, hey, let's get messy, let's make sure that they don't feel, you know, balanced. They don't feel like they're on their feet all the time. Sometimes they get knocked down, sometimes they fall off, sometimes, more importantly, they lose tempo, which is something that A8 really struggled with against GameLab and other teams who have taken games off of them before.
And to a certain extent, it did feel like Tupai Esports was trying to continue playing that chaotic style to throw A8 Esports off their game. They just had a draft that was so much more prepared. Tupai Esports had enough damage from early to mid, and A8 took advantage of that.
Well, I personally think that Tupai Esports, what they were lacking was not...
Nakatawa ako pag di walang TPH, nangihina ako, nangihina.
The decision to not only pump the brakes, but also to press an advantage, right? How far do you press an advantage, and what do you need to achieve? Whether it be EXP, gold, or positioning, I think that's something for Tupai Esports to consider.
I do agree. We saw a bit of hesitation, right? Whenever they want to pull the brakes, they get isolated and they felt like they needed to commit. It's just this tug of war where for them it's damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yep, and that's where A8 Esports, I think with the amount of experience that they have under their belt, they're a little bit more comfortable with these types of decisions.
You see the Fanny ban coming up from A8 Esports, Tupai Esports, most likely we're looking at a Joy ban somewhere down the road. Interestingly enough, in game 1 we actually saw Kaja getting banned, but Farmist was let through. A Esports have no concern over that Farmist, which was a big thing in their earlier series against Game Lab.
Look, I mean, the last time I saw A8 Esports actually deal with the Farmers, and not from 2 from another team, they ran it down. They're like, you know, Fondier, take this in, have a good time. Make sure you send the poor Farmers to a different dimension. It was a whole buck debacle. It was a whole thing.
He was able to do it once the entire game. Once was enough though.
Once was enough. Once was enough.
That was the game where they won against a 14-3 Brody. It was quite a game.
That was a game. I remember it very vividly. All right, so now we see Glue. Oh, interesting. Okay, so a bit of respect put on Letheezy's name here, making sure that Glue is banned this time around. All right, rather interesting.
I do find it interesting that they take out the Glue, considering how they completely crushed that Glue in the entirety of game 1.
I guess they recognize that there is some value, right, in terms of the way you zone your opponents, the way you actually get on top of them. Like we did see like multiple dives in game number 1 where 2 Esports actually pulled ahead of A8 Esports, especially when it comes down to proxying the waves, and especially if they need that extra 5th man. Glue was kind of slowing down A8 Esports from that retreat.
Do you think that in game 2, 2 Esports would switch up their priority in terms of their first 3 picks? Are we going to see that gold lane coming through first?
On red side? Let me think about this for a second. I don't think so. I definitely think that 2 Esports is most likely going to save it for the second half of the draft. Then again, if they do want to change it up, they could within the first 2 picks, but it really depends on what this ban is here. And there we go. It's going to be Kaja. 2 Esports could make a decision to actually ban out. Actually, they don't need to ban out any openers here. Yeah, they can leave the Frederick as well as the Valentine.
The Joy is still also in the pool. For these 2 teams.
It's a good ban. I would suggest that 2 ban it because again, Kaja has been response from A8, so they're expecting 2 to either let it through or say no to it.
That is true. It also could be a double-edged sword, right? Where you let the Joy through, but you ban the Joy because there's no Kaja. Now there's a bit more of that leeway for you to first pick something like Claude, something like Melissa for the side of 2. That's what we saw early on from A8 when they fought against Game Lab. 2 they do ban out the Joy eventually.
Yep, I was expecting maybe 2 was considering the route of let's let Joy through, we pick up Franco for ourselves, so at least we have a guaranteed way of saying, hey, you have anti-CC, well guess what, I have a suppression, so it doesn't matter.
I guess the replacement for that could also be the Cho, which has shown up twice.
Magiging Tusori din ba to?
Cho's timing is way harder.
Magiging Tusori din ba to?
Where it's like, no matter anytime, anywhere, one button, I lock you down.
But A8 has that first pick. See if they would go for the Frederick again. It has been a big
Kuha mo na ako tubig habang di ba nag-i-start.
priority pick for A8.
Yeah, especially for Fondier, like
one of the few XP laners that runs the Frederick.
Look, I feel like he just does not care. He's just like, I'll play anything. I'll fight you with anything, bro. Take me on. Oh, we do see a Kadita this time around. An Kadita opener from A8 Esports. That's interesting.
And it doesn't really reveal anything to 2 Esports, right? This Kadita can still be a flex, and it still opens up the Fredrin and the Cho at the same time. Now question is, does 2 Esports, well, since they went for Martis, we're not going to see the Fredrin anymore. Not for 2
Well, to be fair, I will admit that 2 Esports is a little bit more of an early game type of team, considering the way that they fight so early on. They like to actually go for these big coin flips at the end of the day. So, I mean, anything to actually help out with that coin flip in the earlier stages, yep, makes sense. There it is. Call it.
Yeah, without the Kaja, I think they just feel so much more comfortable with the Claude. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of Malaysians like to go with the Claude. Just Swiss Army knife, man. Swiss Army knife. Just blind pick it, see what A8 Esports returns with. If so, pick up the Valentina if you see an artillery mage. If not, yep, A8 is the one who's going to pick it up.
And they've already done preparation, right? With the Valentina, it doesn't matter if 2 Esports picks the E for the Farsa, you already have an answer to it. You have 2 answers, in fact. Valentina and the Kadita.
Very true, but I do think that Yves is going to be better just because of the fat shield that you get on that real woman ability. situation. And that's pretty much it, unless they want to force A8 Esports into picking up a Franco to stop it entirely, or just try and kill her. So yeah, we do see the Yuzong. They are inciting to buy Esports. Yeah, please, pick up a Farsa. I don't think it's going to be a good idea, but hey, you can try.
Even if, and I think to buy esports, they don't have much choice right now, right, for that mid lane. I guess there's a farm is, but it doesn't really matter too much. Esports can just blow to the cow altar.
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Actually, I do think that even, no matter what mid lane you pick, it's really tough. Because when you're looking at Valentina, it's like, okay, she steals my all, no big deal, big whoop, right? How do you minimize her value? Pick something with a less powerful ultimate. Black Shoes, for example, from someone along the line, from Lilia, that's the one. I was thinking Melissa, and I was like, why couldn't I get it? But with something like Lilia, you lose a lot of value. The Valentina loses a lot of value, but then Kadita comes in as a support position, which is basically the hard counter to something like Lilia. So that's why it's really, really tough for Dubai Esports to predetermine what exactly do I put in this mid lane.
Even if there's a Yuzong, right? He's like a third layer to what A Esports bring to this. If you have a Claude that can dip in and out of battles, but if Medina cannot reach you, Yuzong can.
Yeah, and worse yet,
Yuzong can.
I'm just gonna lock in the Xavier. Yuzong has another target to actually jump on pretty safely, and I think, A8 Esports focus on those mages, just punch it in.
It feels like it's a very tough position for Dubai Esports. You have the Lapu Lapu, you have the Martis, sure, but these prolonged fights just it's a gold mine for a Yuzong.
It really is gold mine, and we'll see how it'll end up at the end of the day. I think that Dubai Esports, what other mages is actually worth considering? Lunox, I think, would be super safe. Yeah.
Probably the safest pick right now. Yves has been removed by A8.
Don't think that was necessary. The cognitive artillery mage, I think they're gonna play carry again.
They could.
They could get carry. Brody's already gone. Wanwan's missing. Is there anything else? Irithel? Irithel is not a bad shout. At least she can outrun the Lapu Lapu. Does it matter against someone like Claude? Maybe that's a good burst, but Brody's already missing, so
probably set up. Does this set up for like a Melissa or?
I can't do.
I think that Melissa is going to struggle, mainly because the anti-CC coming both from the Bravest Fighter of Lapu Lapu, and just it's Martis man. That Decimate just goes right through it.
Dubai Esports double down. See the Julian. Most likely, yeah, this is a Julian hit for sure.
I love it. That's really smart from Dubai. They're running out of options, and I think Julian is one of the few options that actually is beneficial, because Valentina's like,
what do I steal, right?
Yeah, give me your side. Man, it's just not worth it. So
and it's not empowered. She doesn't empower it.
Exactly. So it's really, really weak. So most of the time we will see Lapu ult. Yeah, probably Lapu ult, right? Has to be stealing them because it's a morph. You're able to transform and get all the abilities as well.
So if you steal Lapu's ult, you use it, you get access to his entire kit.
Oh yeah, it's that good. Same goes for Yuzong. As long as it has the keyword morph in it, you can open your game and check it out. They are all categorized. So that's rather interesting. I kind of like where this is going. Bit of brains going into both sides, but A8 Esports. I'm curious to see what they want to get, because Dubai, it's all about like running and diving at people. There's like fight.
Doubling down. Game 1, they did it, but they realized that they needed a bit more. They needed a bit more.
They needed way more. Did they take block here? No.
Okay, Cho and Leslie.
Okay.
This is a Cho jungle, 100%.
Who knows? It could be Kadita jungle.
Jungle, like
it's
The jungle, Valentina jungle.
I thought that A8 would also double down on diving backline with like a.
Pwede rin Valentina jungle dyan.
But I guess when you see like a Martis and a Lapu Lapu, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, it really isn't. And I think it's good that they decided not to go with the tank. They have something like A8 Esports is leading into Dubai saying, hey, you want to fight, we want to fight, but we also want to have like a decent composition. So we'll make a couple of exceptions here.
How do you feel about this, Leslie?
How do I feel about this, Leslie? Pretty terrible. I would have expected it to be carried, but hey, when you have a full dive composition like what Dubai Esports has right now, I would make an argument that it's worth going Irithel just so that you have access to Spring. Like, you're gonna get attacked so fast.
I guess you can expect an even scrappier game 2 from these two teams.
Definitely. I think this is gonna be by far the bloodiest game of the night.
Dubai Esports basically ready to rumble. Game 1 didn't really affect them. Again, right, A Esports might have won Game 1, but it wasn't the cleanest win. It was just a bloody game where Dubai Esports couldn't hold on long enough. At the end of the day, you can see that A Esports were also equally bruised.
I mean, it's King of the Hill this time in the lower brackets, round 2, match number 4 with A8 on match point on the blue side, with Dubai on the red. I want to see where the first fight is going to break out here, because again, mid lane is going to be really tough to maintain control over as Julian as well as the Kufra. But if you look at the bottom side, Fondir has priority until level 4, and that's when Lavizi is going to look for that all-in. Top side, whoa! Mitsuno is taking a boatload of damage. What happened to him?
Yeah, and that was without Kesu showing up also, right?
And he catches the recall! Oh, no!
Oh boy. He might die from this. Well, we'll check back in a bit. But Dubai was able to get at least the Wanderer. But yeah, Real Mitsuno, he is out of here. And he even used the sprint.
Hey, yo, what happened? What happened to his lane? Now the rest of the team is actually getting in on that.
Disaster na agad yung lane ng isa.
It's gonna be a 3 versus 2. Dodo coming in for the pincer. Kesu is the target. Jace doesn't
Patay.
get the orange buff. All the steals in the way. Now Gaze
Level
access to
up
the
yung Martis
ultimate.
Pre,
Watch
sipa.
out for 2 by Jace. Using the Ashura, the CC immunity. He's gonna get out, but not Jeff Hardy though. 2 quick kills going over to 8.
Patay yung Martis din, bumalik
Jace
pa.
also falls. Why did you even go back?
Mukhang sure win na to kay Indo, pre. Bumalik na yung Martis. Level up tuloy siya.
The enhanced sights were about to come out when Kesu clutches it with a Petrify, gets on out of there, and also gets the kill on Alfonso. That has got to hurt.
A8 were ready for a scrappy match. Contrary to game 1 where Tupai started off with 3 kills, now it's A8. But the first 3, RP getting pressured, but he is fearless. He is taking on this Claude. O's coming in, trying to get the kill, goes in. Cross, able to find that trade and make it out with his life.
Beautiful, beautifully done. They're willing to sacrifice. They might actually not sacrifice this though.
And well, A8 gets the turtle, and they take care of the Julian again.
Yep, solving problems left, right, and center. So far, pretty good for the side of A8 Esports. They're not, they're not getting too bloodlust heavy for Dubai Esports. It feels like Dubai is the one who's trying to be the aggressors here. A8, on the other hand, are just responding accordingly.
It feels like for A8 at the same time, they understood that Tupai wants to be aggressive.
Tupai.
So they're just baiting Tupai into these fights. Why is
Patay!
Nobody knows. What do you do? I mean, if you are the Claude.
I've never seen a hostage situation in real life until just now. Oh my goodness, Jeff Hardy!
Sakit na ng Leslie, pre. Pumipitik na yung Leslie, pre.
Now they're showing up, get the kick. They're just gonna dive this! Oh my goodness!
Pina-murder na yung pre, Tupay, Malaysia.
Big scam, right? You get blackmailed the first time for this hostage situation. You send in your first payment, and A8 is like, nah, this ain't the first payment. Where's the second one? Where's the third one? Give me all of them.
Honestly, the true hostage is the turret.
He has to watch all of it, apparently. But down on bot side, at least Dubai Esports are making sure that they maintain the initiative, right? They get the gold back, just a bit of gold, but at the end of the day, it's the EXP deficit which is hurting them.
If you're in the position of Ruben Suno, you are having an incredibly rough time, and then you have this random choke just cutting through that mid lane, and there's no way to stop him.
Hey yo, Jeff Hardy's already on Ozil.
Still Shampoo's away, Fondy just flies in from afar. We say that this will be
Na-retry yung Chu, pre. Na-retry na naman ng Chu. Pangina mo, level 6 lang yung Martis, par.
1 versus 3. He is healthy. His passive is healing him back up. 2 by East was helping him gain health. At the end of that, well, guess what? Ozzy was the one who got the purple buff.
Hirap na hirap, guys. Hirap na hirap.
Wait, hold on. They get the petrified full combo? Is he alive?
Still alive for now. Kesu knocked up by the chains. But
Ano?
no kills.
No kills, no kills.
Ala gago! Ala gago, sayang! GG na to, par! GG na to, par!
Game and this claw shows up, but not where you want to be.
I can't.
Well, all of that was
Durog,
happening.
durog, pre,
This
durog.
Leslie is having a fantastic time.
Mayaman na pamanda yung Leslie.
Dude,
Jeff.
this is like 2 weeks ago. This is
May
like 2
matutuwits
weeks ago when
dito.
A8 Esports was playing. They're having a good time.
They definitely are enjoying themselves.
Excuse
What
me.
else is next? What else is next on this move?
This is the closest that we'll get to Aero 404's game.
Yeah, this really is, but it's happening to Dubai Esports. But the picks aren't too weird, all right? I'll give it to A8 Esports. There are a couple of outliers, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, still, don't tell me. Oh no.
Like, gets the kick. Jay straight back, right into the hands of Kesu. He's gonna get
Huli.
terrified. RP's casually picking up
Kaya
the
ba?
kill. Can they at least get on
Hindi
to
ganun
get
kasapat yung
Kesu?
damage, pre.
Dubai was finding the kill for himself. Dodo forward, knock up onto Ozu. Shishan goes to safety. Bottom tier 1 goes down. Ozu, don't do it, don't do it. Jeff Hardy jumps on him. Ozu still shot goes away this time. Finally punished. But they might lose Jeff Hardy though. RP.
Block it!
Probably
Block
also
it! Oh my God.
Dodo doing a great job. And well, Fondia is in that rush. I mean, this is what Dubai Esports wants to do to A8, but A8 just strikes first. And Fondia, why underneath the inhibitor?
Yo! What? Aiden, stop it! Stop it! The ego's on this guy.
They learn from
Fondir.
Game Lab, 100%.
Bro, I'm telling you, Fondir, he is rising up to be one of my favorite players in this tournament. He just does not care. He has no self-awareness, never even needed. He got the kill, job done. Jeff Hardy coming in.
Tries to look for Richie, doesn't find it. Aldo is level 10.
Oh!
And Jeff Hardy is gonna be the target. He is dead. The easy flickers forward. Both XP laners do not care about their lives. But it's Fondia getting the kill now. Dodo is on the run. Someone blocked those bullets. Aldo gets the knockup. Dodo goes down.
Oh, this is spiraling out of control.
It is.
Imagine 13-5, but the goal lead is only 3K.
7 minutes. We have 18 kills in 7 minutes.
Oh my god.
Richie?
Oh no. Richie can't just... He's got the decimate. He can technically chase this if he
Patay
wants,
ito?
but he's just gonna let him go. Oh wait, no! He's got Kesu on the
Oh
other
my
side!
goodness.
The hostage situation.
Ba't ganun yung
is
isang
turning
caster?
so
Ganun
soft.
tumawa, ganun mag-cast.
Well, at least Jay's got the turtle. Can they get out? Jeff Hardy, the knockup couldn't get the ult off. Look at Aldo, he's having fun. In the back line, sees the DZ showing up. DZ using that ultimate, goes in, hits no one. And Fondia, he is healing up. And well, while that was happening, bot tier 2 just went down.
Look, this feels like a spin-off episode, right? We got the main canon happening, but the spin-off episodes are getting hella cash right now. 5K, as a matter of fact.
Well, at least A8 Esports learned something from that Game Lab series. It is to do basically what Game Lab did to them. Easy. No, they just get back. He runs away. Kesu finds the kill. Also, once more gets out. Richie does go down to by Esports. Popping concealed. They just cannot chase.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy honestly has been the most consistent player so far. Now that he's off of Candida and on this Kufra, he is
Nakakambak pa ata, pre. Huwag mo sabihin mananalo pa to.
Jeff Hardy doesn't have the Tyrant's revenge.
Huwag mo sabihin mananalo pa to.
Finally found something.
Hey man, 23 kills in 8 minutes, you know? Breaking records here, breaking records.
Definitely.
I love
What's,
it.
well, 5k goal advantage in favor of A8. Finally some reading room. 40 seconds until Lord spawns. Well, for, yeah, turtle.
Yeah, for the turtle.
For turtle.
Yeah, it's good that both teams finally decided, okay, stretch our hands, let's go for the reset. Let's see whether Dubai Esports can actually take control of the main canon, because the side stories, the spin-off stories from A8 Esports are doing a phenomenal job here. And this time, they brought in the man, the myth, the legend, Fondir himself to ensure. They even utilize Arfi's ults. They know he's by
Ay,
himself.
naman, lambot ng kulog.
What? Where did his HP go? Where's his life?
Almost got 3-shotted. Meanwhile, petrified to Dodo. He's gonna flicker into Kesu. And then his team is there. And what happened to Lapu Lapu?
He's gone. He did not get his second skill off in time.
Did he not see what RV did to his teammate?
No, doesn't care. He's got damage, quote-unquote damage reduction if he casts it. So maybe he lives through the true damage. He's trying, man. He's trying to be part of the side story, but unfortunately, he needs to stick to the main canon.
There it is, Lord, initiated by A8. I feel like the only way for Dubai to have a chance if they somehow steal this Lord. But I fear for Jace. Yeah, Ozzy is very, very aware. He's trying to bait out the Ashura, now finds the timing, Jace instantly petrified.
Oh my god.
Patay yung mga artist.
Jeff Hardy tries to make a play though.
Just gets two-shotted by RP. And yeah, it's a 3-4-1. It's a 1-for-3.
Don't worry, one by one. Now it's Latizi's turn, okay? 3 people down, Latizi, he's got this. I mean, clearly the 3 that failed just weren't as good as Lapu Lapu.
Look, if you want to, like, you can't let your
So sorry na to, par?
just ego.
Masakit na yung Leslie.
Also be fearless. Oh wow, also.
So sorry na to, pre.
Honestly, in what universe did the Claude think that he can survive that?
Look, okay, to be fair, he still had Battle Mirror image. Did he time it poorly? Kind of.
just waited a bit too long.
Waited a bit too no, I mean, Kisu doesn't have any abilities, right? Okay. At this point, we're just reacting to half the nonsense that's going on here.
Yeah, this is like what, 31 kills.
Yeah.
We have an average of 3 kills per minute.
It never ends. It never ends. I want to see how the main cannon is going to go. We've seen, okay, all 3 people jump.
Wala pa man din kwenta wind up nature kay ano.
Didn't work either. So this time,
Kay
let's
Leslie.
see the side story as well as the main cannon come together for the space defense.
Jace, no.
That was an attempt. Oh!
There it is. Okay, finally the Claude does something. They get to the RP.
Ayun, patay yung
Takes
Leslie,
out
pre.
Leslie, maybe there is a chance. Ozu gets the king. It's gonna be Lapu Lapu in the fray, completely destroyed by the Valentina.
Still going.
He gets a good knockback, but Dodo has ran out of health. Rumisuno, this Claude just doesn't have damage. He's trying. Fondia just challenges him. And yeah, Richard just walks on forward, gets the kill. And even through all of that, Dubai East was still lost.
Yeah, I mean, look, at least they have many inhibitors. There's still a silver lining at the end of the day. They're about to lose an inhibitor.
Yeah, and also he just got this guy on a helmet, Decimate takes care of him. Inhibitor still goes down.
Oh no, I thought they could at least save that. Okay, that's fair. I mean, they deserve that. All right, fair enough, fair enough. But AA Esports, they're just so far ahead. I mean, look at the items that are...
Look at the Leslie item.
How does she have 11K?
I don't know.
I mean, she got... Okay, to be fair, when she was at, what?
Just 11 assists, by the way.
Yeah, 11 assists. I'm pretty sure she didn't have this many items when she had like 4 kills. How did this all turn around so quickly?
So she's
Wala pa nga malepic Rory Leslie.
8 kills. And Fondia is just... Yeah, he sees this. Alright, my friend. Do it.
Pero masakit yan.
Call in the squad. He saw 2.
Lalo na pa nag-critical.
See 3.
He's gonna see 3.
Basag ulo mo dyan.
Saw the Martis earlier.
There we go, Fondia, let's go. It's a 1 versus 4. Now we know he can't do it on his own.
Fondier finally tells his team, okay guys, I can't 1v5. Maybe I can 1v4.
Maybe I can 1v4. Okay, so out of that, this forced the Lapu Lapu's ult. Well, this Dubai was able to buy some time. I say some time. I'm using that term very sparingly.
Well, let's see here, because right now, AA want to go for the all-out brawl main cannon.
Party dashes straight into Ozu. I mean, it is hard, right? You have 2 petrifiers on the side of A8. Jace shows up.
Dude, Ozu just kicked Jeff Hardy. he just kicked Jeff Hardy right in the face. And I don't think Jeff Hardy is going to let... Oh, the conceal. Oh, this could be the counter engage of a lifetime.
RP is in range. The flicker forward.
Uy, patay ata yung Leslie. Ayun, panalo, patay yung Leslie, pre.
Finally pounces, but here comes Fondia. Big man is here. Big Black Dragon in the
Patay yung kulod, gago, tulog. Tulog yung kulod doon. Nahuli ni Kadita. GG. Di kaya, masyado mataba din yung Valentina Kadita. Sinaksak.
But they lose the whole team.
Yep, they've lost their entire team. They've just been setting up these
Patay.
Jeff Hardy tries his absolute
GG pare.
best, but a
Too
complete
sorry.
wipeout here. Dubai
Too sorry,
Esports,
too sorry.
We have nobody left, and AA Esports will be able to close this game out to move on
Too
to the
sorry.
next round. Well done, as AA Esports keep fighting for tournament lives.
Can I just say that we have
Winasak,
a total
guys,
of
winasak.
43 kills, but the goal advantage is just 5,000.
Hey man, sometimes it's not about the objectives, it's about ego. It's about
GG
pride.
guys.
It's about pride.
Kita-kits ulit tayo bukas. May laman ulit ang team page bukas.
That's
Thank you sa mga nanatili, nakitambay dito, par.
The boys are happy, especially Fawn.
Thank you sa inyo, guys. Thank you.
One of my favorite players.
Iilan na lang kayo, salamat.
This guy just not care.
Definitely
Iilan na lang kayo, salamat, salamat.
He died.
Ayan, thank you sa 100 na nag-stay. Kita-kits ulit tayo bukas, guys.
He understood. 1v5, that's little too many people.
The limit is 1v5.
Yeah, he never tested 1v4, so I'm just saying.